This is Trophy Gold, Temple of 1000 Swords, part 2 of 2. A very quick recap of things from last time. The party is split right now. Right now, Revel is currently passing through a ghost of some sort. Master Riven and Osto have just played they just laid a trap for the Duck Eaters. There's one Duck Eater, though, they might have to contend with. And Alec and Theodan are right now in a merpeople lair in a deep underground lake. And so that is where we find everyone. The sort of really interesting dungeon thing going on, I think, is the fact that Osto and Riven have found 3 of 9 pieces of a blade, a sort of puzzle blade that the pieces all join together. And so that might be something for everyone to keep an eye out for. Obviously, Osto and Riven are really, have that in the front of their minds, I'm sure. But we're going to pick up with Revel. Oh, actually, before we continue, I do want to also point out the critical block of character info on each of you. Burdens, gold, very important. Do be gathering treasure in order to meet your burdens. Also, there are a few hunt tokens out in the world. You each have one, so that's not nothing. And everybody's actually doing okay on ruin except for Revel. Revel has 5 ruin right now, so not you're in some danger, Revel, unless you can find a way to get your ruin lowered. So that is where everything kind of stands in terms of the critical information. Okay, let's pick up with Revel though. So Revel, per your Devil's Bargain last time, you accepted a bargain that one is going to chill you to the bone, so you can go ahead and take a condition along those lines. But 2, passing through this spirit causes you to have either, I don't think it's quite a flashback, or maybe it is a flashback, but it's a flashback to something that you don't remember. Like it's something you experienced, but you're only remembering it now for whatever reason, for a reason that might become clear as we go. I want to talk about the fact that you are an unmasked Feyborn. In the world of Trophy, the Feyborn all wear these masks. And the masks are a critical part of their identity. They also function to help them operate in the courtly intrigues of the Fey realm, as well as to move easily in and out of human society, or at least move in and out of human society in a way that like they don't know who you are exactly. To see a masked Feyborn is not, it's rare, but it's not like unheard of in the human society. But you are an unmasked Feyborn, and I want to know the circumstances of your unmasking. I think this is a good time to reveal that. Like why don't you wear your mask anymore? What happened? Who unmasked you? Did you unmask yourself? Like what was the story there?
So I didn't give up my mask willingly. So betrayed I betrayed my court and my mask was taken. So then I was kind of exiled from that from the court. Hence my drive to become part of the Swirling Court.
Very interesting. So you betrayed your ancestral court and was unmasked, and you were unmasked as a punishment, which is why you now seek the Swirling Court. That's very interesting indeed. I think you have this really particular flash of insight. The flash of insight, I don't think I'm going to roleplay the scene. I'm going to just say what it is. But basically, it was the Swirling Court that demanded your unmasking. The betrayal that you enacted upon your own court was viewed by your court as just the folly of youth. Nobody was going to, you were not going to face any really serious repercussions from that. Regrettably, your court did commit some unacceptable breach with the swirling court. And as penance, it was the swirling court that demanded your unmasking. And your court just made you think it was because of your betrayal, which they didn't really care about. And I'm curious, combined with the fact that you're also chilled to the bone, like, what are you thinking and how are you feeling learning this information?
Um, Normally I'd be enraged, but because of going through the spirit and the cold and kind of the tone of the vision or flashback, I'm actually fairly kind of resigned to my fate, and a bit of feeling of hopelessness.
We'll check back in on you in a moment. Osto and Riven. Regrettably, the Duck Eater actually finds you both in your hiding spot pretty easily because of Riven's chemical burn condition. he smells you out pretty fast. He's by himself though, so he's not like an incredible danger, but he's angry. He's an endurance 7. Do tell me how you're vulnerable and roll weak point.
I suppose I smell delicious with my chemical burn. Perhaps I look old, weak, doddering, and delicious. That could be the
Indeed.
Ribbon's weak point. Okay, let me roll.
I imagine he smells the rest of that dead, the one with the head, that dead duck eater, on me because I'm the one that smushed him. So probably has it particularly out for me.
Let's roll weak point. Riven has a 3. And Osto has a 4. So that is what we're looking at. Riven, you can go ahead and roll combat 2. Let's see how this goes. I assume you both have a weapon with which to fight the thing.
Actually, Riven's gnarled
Yes.
staff.
You don't have a weapon. Oh.
So all he has is,
Oh no!
I suppose, surgical. I'd have to get in really close.
No, I mean, you can't do the combat because you don't have your weapon. So you're there, and you can maybe like recede and try to like do magic on it or whatever. But Osto's by himself. So Osto, it's weak point 4, and you have to roll combat 1.
Can I do the same version of my ritual to help Osto out? So rather than doing a direct magical attack or ritual attack, to try to drain the Duck Eater while Osto is taking it out in martial combat.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. What remind me the ritual that you were using last time?
Just to drain all
drain.
the water from that object. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you can actually just use it as the justification. You can use it in combat if you want to just join the combat. You can have that be your weapon, right? You just have to narrate towards it. Sure. So in which case, combat 2. Also, before we go any further, Mark, you're really laggy right now. Maybe rejoin the call and just see if that fixes it.
Okay.
Right. We'll give you a moment. We'll come back to this though, and check in with Alec and Theoden. Alec and Theoden, you're in the most I think the most precarious situation of the entire party, because you're in an underground lake. You can see, with the dim light coming from the little island, you can see vague shapes swimming underneath the surface of this lake. And they seem to be able to maneuver in the water in a much more efficient and agile way than the two of you can. And so you're very much on their territory. we do have this set goal of safely reaching the Merqueen's Island, and it's kind of unclear like where else you can even go except back into, I mean, because you can't see the full scope of the space. So what are the two of you doing right now?
I look around and I only see that island. And then I look at Ted and I'm like, I shrug. I guess we start swimming, and I start swimming for that island. This is a terrible idea.
Yeah, Theoden is making himself visible unknowingly by kind of using his sword to look around.
Oh, that's right.
You have the sword, that's right. I will, Ted, and I'll let you have a hunt roll, actually, with two
Okay,
dice.
that's great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Hunt. 2. That is a 3. 2 3s, actually.
Which means you encounter something terrible.
I wonder what it could be.
Indeed. I think as you're waving the sword around, you catch little glimpses all around you. Female forms. It's like they're taunting you. You wave your sword one way and you see nothing, but you can hear a splash over here, and just out of the peripheral vision you can see like a woman in the water, but then when you fully focus on her, she's not there. They're taunting you, but it's not in a playful way. It's definitely in a predatory way. They are clearly trying to hem you in. And you hear a voice in the inky blackness of the cavern. I do not take kindly to intruders in my realm. Alec, what do you do?
Pardon our intrusion. What can we do to make things right? That's what I say.
Yeah, I know. The response is, show me how much you want to live. Bite your own tongue from your mouth, and I will know how desperate you are to live. I assume you're not going to do that, Alec.
No, I'm not.
Oh, it seems you do not crave life. It seems you wish to meet an end at the bottom of my queendom.
Death in the water is not the worst death that I could suffer. So I brandish my spear in my one hand as I'm swimming.
Indeed. What are you doing right now, Oz or Dannon?
He does not feel the same about death in the water that Alec does. But he is trapped. There's literally nothing else. It's kind of like an island he's on, right? Like this little mass that he came out of, and then it's surrounded by water. So
I kind of imagine you're both just kind of doggy paddling unless you go back to the little hole that you came out of. Yeah, good.
That's even better. Then he's gonna stick with Alec because these things are going to attack, and he'd rather them have two things to focus on than one. Like, well, maybe we can, maybe she'll be a little bit nicer in person.
Maybe. I'm gonna go back to that combat. Riven and sorry, your name has not changed, Mark. Osto. What was your combat roll?
10 for Riven.
Oh, nice, very good. I mean, it's for everybody, but yeah, 10, great, and no, it was 2 5s, no weak point. You destroy the Duck Eater. Start the combat narration, Riven. What happens?
In his desperation, Riven, terrified because he has no staff, and realizing his hands aren't in the best of shape after the chemical burns, clutches his vials together and shakily, as Osto wades into combat, manages to mix the caustic ingredients as best he can and toss it directly at the Duck Eater. Luckily, Osto's managed to set up a perfect position so that it catches it full on in the face and begins to dehydrate it immediately, starting with the eye and moving out from there.
Nice, Osto, finish him off.
Perfect. Yeah, and I close with my war pick, I think it is. Horseman's pick. Yeah, or actually, I think the throwing hatchet this time. And as it's desiccating, just get one right between the eyes, and its head just kind of crumbles.
Nice. Osto, you can go ahead and roll gold 7.
7.
See if he has any interesting swords on him.
What?
1. And then somebody else can roll me a D100 and I'll tell you what interesting sword he had. Who's got my D100?
Oh, you need a D100? I can do it.
D100,
Nobody else
yeah.
is. That is 22.
22. Oh, he has a really fine sword edged in silver. It's worth 1 gold. So there you go.
I will take that from him when I take my hatchet out of his head.
Indeed. We'll come back to this. Revel, you pass through the spirit. The spirit disappears, leaving you there, having apparently served whatever grim purpose, or maybe it's just it can't do much more than what it did. But you find yourself in this corridor. The corridor, as you enter it, sort of immediately turns a corner, but also continues down your left. I'm going to just snap a picture of it so this makes sense, because I don't think it's making any sense as I'm describing it. I'll do my best not to reveal any secrets here. I'll drop this in the chat. But it's like that. It's like you've just come out of that little vestibule where the water is on the southerly side. And so the little tiny vestibule connection bit was where the spirit was. So you can kind of like go around, or you can go, yeah, that's the direction. Does that make sense?
Maybe. So I just came out of the blue area. That's
You
blue?
just came out of the blue area. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go to I'm gonna flip a coin since I can see there's something interesting on the left.
No, there's something interesting on the right too, but you just can't see
know.
the rest of it.
I'll go to the right.
So it's a really long corridor, so long that you can't see the end of it with your torchlight. But it's dry. There's no stream, and it's not choked with swords, so that's something. There are swords on the ground, but it's not dangerous to traverse. Do you press forward?
Yes.
How are you pressing forward? It's really important for me to know, like, are you going quickly? Are you taking your time? Are you checking things out? Like, how is this going?
Yeah, I'm taking my time, being cautious and checking things out to see if there's anything interesting with the swords. Or
yeah, take a hunt roll. 1 die, unless you can make a case for the second die.
let's see here. mean, the standby is I would have a torch. Let's see. I don't know what else I would have. Let's see here. That would probably be it. So. All right, so 1 die. I got a 2.
You are proceeding down the hall. Carefully checking the ground. You get about halfway when you hear a voice on your right-hand side, muffled, but you hear distinctly the voice says, "What is life? What is life but plunging the end of a blade into the gullet of your foe? And what a glorious way to die! To die at the end of a finely forged sword. This is what makes your mortal lives worth living. The frenzy of battle, the heat of the duel. Iron and blood. A sacred skewering. What do you do?
I assume I don't see anything.
You do not see anything. Except you can tell the direction it's coming from, but you don't
Okay.
see anything.
Is it another like hallway, or is it
It just appears to be a wall.
okay? So I'll check the wall
How
to see
so?
if it's real. I'll just kind of, I'll touch it, I guess.
It's
Uh,
definitely not solid like the rest of the wall.
Okay. All right.
What do you do?
Now that I know it's not solid, is there any chance that if I know it's an illusion that I might be able to see through it?
Oh, I mean like it's hollow, like it has a
Oh,
hollowness to
okay.
it.
All right, got it. I don't know if I need to break it at this point.
You can note it, I guess.
Yeah. I'll kind of remember where it is and check it later. Then I'll keep going.
Proceed
down.
apace. Very good. Alec and Theodan. Alec, it sounds like maybe you are leading the effort to reach the island or to get away from the island.
To reach the island.
Okay. I mean, it's the only place you know for sure there is somewhere to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you do a risk roll. There is only one failure here.
Can I ask a question before that?
Yeah, sure.
Since we have Theoden's light from his sword,
Mhm.
when he's swimming with it, when the sword's in the water, how far down into the water can we see? Can we see the bottom? Is actually what I'm
No,
asking.
you can't see the
Okay.
bottom of the lake.
No problem. That's all.
You can see, though, that you're surrounded by swimming figures, though.
Oh yeah, this is terrible.
You can attempt the crossing. You can take help from Theodan if needed. And the only danger here is that one or both of you gets rent to pieces by these creatures before you can make it all the way.
It's the only danger. That's no big deal.
A minor thing. Do you have a skill that will help you?
Yeah, athletics.
Very good. And I will offer the devil's bargain as well. The devil's bargain is no matter what, the Mer Queen gets her wish and you lose your tongue.
No, I think I'm good. I think I like talking.
Very good. You have one light die and a dark die. Looking for, oh gosh, any success will do, I think. That is a fail
That
with a
is a
3.
fail.
It is a
Mhm.
hard fail too because you can't go anymore.
I
However,
get some
Theoden can
help
offer
though here.
can offer and help. Yes, Theoden, you gotta do better than a 3.
Oh yes, I can do that. I will just roll help. I kind of assume it's my help is kind of the torchlight
It's the
from my sword.
sword. Yeah, I think it's like
Yeah.
the sword. That's kind of seems like all you're doing, really.
All right, time to roll help. That is a 4.
Boy, you needed that. You're gonna succeed. I'm extracting a really tough penalty though. You drop the sword on the way. But
Yeah.
please narrate your arrival on the island, Alec. What does the scene look like?
Well, I'm swimming along, and the threat is all these mer people. I guess they're mer people. I don't know what I'm actually seeing in the water, except for these mer people. They start swimming by and like slicing at me specifically because I'm in the lead, and I was cheeky with their mer queen. And it looks like they're all about to jump on me when Theoden surges forward with the sword. The light flashes in most of their eyes, which makes them run away because they're living in this dark cave, so they probably don't like the light all that much. Unfortunately, one of the mer people bash into Theoden, making him lose his grip on the sword, and the sword just goes sliding down into the deep dark of the lake until it winks out in the blackness. But we managed to get to the island.
Managed to get to the island. Theoden, do you want to add any narration here?
Not really. I think that was very well done. The only thing I will add is that when you guys get up onto the like whatever reef kind of land we're at, Theoden will basically without me doing a whiny voice, he will beg you for the crystal sword you have because now he has no weapon at all. I
Yeah,
lost my knife and I just lost my nice sword.
I completely give him the crystal sword. No problem.
Yeah, I'll give it back if we survive.
Very good. Very good. The crystal sword is probably not functional as a weapon because it's so delicate.
He does not know that.
Yeah.
He thinks it's magical. He's just gonna hit something with it.
It is magic in some way, though, supposedly.
Oh, did we establish that? Oh, then maybe it is. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your arrival on the island. It's not very big. This island is probably the size of like half a football field, maybe, if even that. You do see the throne of the Mer Queen. It is an enormous. It's like the Iron Throne, but it's mollusks instead of swords. Like it's just piled up clams and oysters and things like that, and barnacles, all piled up into a vague throne-like shape. The Mer Queen has a tail that shimmers iridescent, a fish tail, and her skin is a sort of pale green, and her hair it almost like undulates in the air like seaweed underwater. And she brandishes, you don't recognize it, but if Osto and Riven were here, they would. She brandishes one of the pieces of the Nine of Swords. She holds it like it was a whole weapon, though you can even see from where you're at, you can see that it's not a complete sword. It's like a jagged little piece of sword, essentially. Still deadly, though. I wouldn't test her. And she's flanked by a pair of guards who have the lower halves of crabs. And we'll come back to this scene in a moment. I will say before we leave, though, Alec and Theoden, very faintly, somewhere in the distance, you hear a cacophony of screams and quacks. Revel, a little closer, you hear a little louder, a cacophony of screams and quacks. Osto and Riven, you hear a bunch of screams and quacks down in the hole as whatever's down there is dispatching the Duck Eaters.
Excellent.
So what are the two of you doing? What are the two of you doing right now? Let's have the scene.
I think now we want to cover the hole back up with whatever rubble we can, if that's a possibility.
Certainly.
Yes, yes. We'll manhandle whatever pieces of statuary will fit comfortably over the hole.
I think the ultimate
Smiling
point,
wide and looking very successful.
Yeah, that's right. We did it. I think the ultimate point of the plan was to go in the direction where the Duck Eaters were coming from to search for more parts of the sword there, maybe.
Okay, so you're going to go past the part that you originally blocked up, which is
Yeah.
now open.
Yeah.
It's a short corridor that goes down about 20 feet and then cuts left, but then keeps going another 30 feet and cuts right.
Cautiously make our way down.
Which direction do you cut left as soon as you can, or do you keep going forward?
Oh wait, okay, I got. Let's. What do you think?
I'm following you, Osto.
Let's go. Let's keep going straight then. We'll
You
take that left
took
later
the
on.
Duck Eater to pieces.
I will continue doing so until they are all gone.
I'm sorry. So you said you're cutting left?
We're going straight, I think.
Oh, you're going straight. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at my map. So you go forward another. It's a grand total of about 60 feet, and it turns right, and you're just in another corridor that goes forward.
Let's keep going on until we hit something.
Anything remarkable about the difference between where all of the Duck Eaters were originally sort of compiled behind the door? I'm thinking like either refuse from their feeding.
Oh
or,
yeah, make a hunt
feces or
roll.
anything like that. Yeah,
Yeah, since you asked the
Go.
question, make the hunt roll.
sure thing. Or I think terrible.
I will tell you that if you were to go left, you would definitely be in what I would characterize as the Duck Eater's latrine. You see streaks of feathers and shit and blood in that direction. It's not quite as heavy in the direction you're going, but it's very, very heavy and stinks very badly had you hung left. Proceeding apace. Oh, and you get a token as well.
And
if you continue down in that
would that-
direction,
would that roll, Jason, have given Riven any better sense of, with the number of Duck Eaters that came through the open passage and went down into the pit, should we be encountering a lot more, or is it about?
I mean, you don't hear them. You don't hear any more Duck Eaters. So
All right.
they weren't
Okay.
exactly quiet before. So unless
right.
they're just lying in wait, there's not many of them left, if any.
Cleverness does not seem to be their strong point.
No, it does not, dude.
Subtlety.
You continue down that corridor. About halfway down, you come upon a door to your left, and it also continues going straight.
I would like to let's do the let's listen at the door and see if anything's behind it.
Make a hunt roll.
Let's see, do I have anything that would... I don't think so. A 3.
Say that again.
3.
A 3. You listen on the other side of the door. It's just a regular wooden door. And you hear some very nervous sounding. Quack. 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 Like they're trying to figure out what to do.
Is there a voice or several
It's
voices?
multiple, yeah.
feel like quietly proceeding would be the short term best thing to do. Long term, maybe not.
So continuing down the hall. I'm going to check in with Revel briefly. Revel, I'm putting another piece of map in the chat for you.
Okay.
So on the right-hand side of that image is the direction you're coming from. It
Okay.
then hangs left and then immediately hangs right and keeps going forward. Which way you want to go?
So, which direction were the screams coming from? Yeah, what I left. Yeah,
the quacks and screams that you heard faintly.
yeah.
That's the direction that you all originally entered here from.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
from behind.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I will keep. I'll go to the right and then turn right again. So I'll keep going kind of forward.
Or you'll go to the left and then to the right.
Yeah, sorry, left and right. Yeah. Apparently, I
Okay.
don't know the difference.
No, that's good. In that case, the three of you are about to meet up.
Okay.
So Osto, Riven, and Revel, you are all back together. You are in this chamber that is a very interesting scene indeed. There is a corpse of a very tall individual dressed like a pope or a pontifex, lying face down in a pool of blood, a spear piercing its abdomen. The mitered cap has rolled away, exposing stringy white hair on a gray scalp. There is also let me make sure I got this right. Yeah. There's also a door, a stone door on. It's to your right as you come in, Revel, and it's directly ahead of Osto and Riven. Well, let's just put the three of you together.
So, do we see them come in from the other side, or like, how is the? How do
Yeah,
we-
like they're coming.
meeting, like-
They're coming in from one way. You're coming in from the other way. There's like, and you're both in this little chamber with two different entrances, and then there's a stone door leading out.
a bit of a Scooby-Doo moment where we
Yeah.
we're all
Okay.
creeping in and then see each other. Okay.
Revel, you made it. All right.
Oh, hey. So it looks like this guy discovered the glory of being alive.
And there's a spear through his chest.
Yeah.
There's a spear through. He's speared into the ground. Yeah.
And he is no longer alive.
No longer alive, laying in a
Yeah.
pool of. It's pretty tacky and dried blood at this point, but not completely dried.
Well, apparently the best part of being alive is to get steel run through you. Or at least that's what the voice back there told me.
Oh,
I'm looking at Osto.
what voice was that?
A voice in the rock wall that sounded like it could be hollow.
Oh, interesting. And you didn't go through?
No, you guys were making a lot of noise, so I thought I'd catch up with you instead.
That's probably for the best. Riven, you don't have a weapon right now. Do you want to grab that spear?
I think I should examine the body first to make sure
All
it's
right.
the only thing keeping it down.
Good call. Good call.
You can make a hunt roll. How are you examining the body, Riven?
Oh well, that's the name of Riven's game. So I'm going to to look to see if how long the body's been here. Estimate if it's unnaturally aged or has been preserved for a longer period of time, and if indeed the spear is the killing blow, or if it sustained other head injury. You said the miter had been knocked off the head.
Mhm.
Anything along those lines. So use his best forensic evidence with deduction, surgery, injury.
I love it. Yeah, make a 2-die hunt roll.
Oh, 6.
Ooh, nice.
Take your token. I will tell you as you're examining the body It moves a little bit. The fingers flex a little bit, and there's a slight shifting of the upper torso.
Comrades, it's not quite dead just yet.
So
I
is
think
there anything you
should
can do
leave the
for him?
spear should probably stay inside.
The flesh is incredibly gray and necrotic, however.
Of course, there's always a chance it could have been that way before the spear was removed.
True.
It might be a matching pair to the thing with all the crowns that we sent the duck eaters down to see.
Hmm.
Anything else on the corpse besides the robes and the mitre?
Let me take a look. You got a good enough roll. I'll tell you if there's anything interesting.
Or if there's any old Caldurian symbols or iconography?
Nothing on the body, but the spear is remarkably well crafted, covered in like runes, and not just an average soldier's spear.
And the first non-sword weapon we found.
First non-sword weapon. A good observation. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Perhaps that's why it's so deadly.
Hmm.
You think on what you want to do. I'm going to cut over to Ted and Alec. You are here before the Mer Queen's throne. I want to just know what the two of you are doing as you approach or as you come up on the little beach. Theoden, what are you doing?
He is kind of shrinking behind Alec, I think, a little bit. He knows there's really not much they can do. I mean, here she is, right? It's pretty obvious she was the one speaking to us, I assume. So it's kind of like who talks first? You talk first, I talk first, one of those bits. But he's very clearly maybe like a step behind. He is not above groveling to her, but he'll let Alec take the lead and just back him up more or less.
If this goes poorly, I whisper back to Theoden, I will go for the queen. Cover me.
Yeah, he'll nod back at you. He won't say anything, but he'll nod.
You hear her voice. She doesn't actually open her mouth to speak, but you hear her voice nonetheless in the darkness, in the dimly lit. There is a fire going. In the light from the fire, you can kind of see that she's not moving, but she's definitely communicating and looking at you. She says to you, Alec, you have the smell of the sea. Though I can tell it is a faint smell, you have not been out onto the waves of that which you call Exodius in a number of years.
No, I have not. Injuries happen. Makes it very difficult for me to deal with the sway of the ship.
I have taken many sailors as lovers over the centuries. And now here, in this place of exile, I find myself greatly coveting moments of nostalgia.
First you wish my tongue, now you wish my body. Is there anything else that you wish, Queen?
I cannot wish for both your tongue and your body at the same time.
I would give you both if you would swear not to eat either.
And she ponders your offer. The two crab guards, they scuttle a little closer, clearly penning you both in on either side. Theoden, you'll notice something that they are clearly standing kind of, one of the guards always keeps itself between it and you. a large treasure chest, atop which is an enormous sea urchin. What are you doing while Alec is bargaining, I suppose, with the Merqueen?
I don't think he would make a move. I really don't see him doing something like that. I see him more as the kind of person that's like when Alec starts with like the word queen, he kind of like bows his head a little bit. And he really, I think he's maybe kind of giving signals to Alec by maybe like tapping him on his like hip or something like that to like look one direction or the other. Which I'm sure Alec is already pulling in that information.
Alec, out of character, what do you hope to accomplish here with the Merqueen?
When I was looking, I am not super interested in bargaining with a person that is asked to eat my tongue or me to bite my tongue off at this point. So if they're to the left and the right, what I was really looking for is an opportunity to just rush her. I mean, we both have surprise.
I like it.
We
Yeah,
can
it's
both
good.
go get her.
Yeah. I'm into it. I think this is a risk roll. It might be that you can kill her but have to deal with the crab guards afterwards. Or it might not. I don't know. We'll see. But I like this as a risk roll. I think it's a good risk roll.
I could tell you part 2 of the plan. Part 2 of the
Okay.
plan is Theoden is going to raise her. We've been talking about it in the chat, and then we're going to use her dead body that's been raised to get ourselves out of this situation.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I like that. I think that's a good idea. I think I think the crab guards you won't be able to fool because they're going to see what you do, but you might be able to, the other mer people might be dupable for sure. I think this is probably a separate role. So the first role of just can you take out the queen feels like the first thing to resolve here. Obviously, you can take help from Theoden if needed. Do you have a skill or piece of equipment that's going to help you here? Surprise, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, I like that. Devil's bargains. My devil's bargain is no matter what, killing her. Well, let's just say no matter what, she will be able to summon a water elemental.
Theoden, do you think we can kill a water elemental?
I'm not even sure if we can kill the crab guards, but
I actually have no doubt in my mind that we could probably take these crab guards.
I mean, meta-wise, maybe. I mean, we also don't know what this crystal sword does. Maybe it'll be bitching. Who knows?
Sure. Yeah. Fine. Let's go. We'll take it.
Yeah, do it.
Very, very well. 2 light dice, 1 dark die. Let's see how it goes.
Oh my god, that's terrible. I rolled a 3.
3. The die roller really wants to kill you, Alec.
It does.
Theoden, go ahead and we never talked about fail conditions. I mean, fail conditions I think are pretty straightforward. Like I just think that you have to do combat with all 3 of them essentially. Theoden, go ahead and roll a help die if you want to do that.
Yeah, I think I do. In my mind, the way the help is happening is when Alec kind of explodes towards her, he's like he basically is doing it at the same exact time. So, and that's a 3.
Oh,
Damn, not
so
good. Not good.
So I think my ruin goes up actually.
And your ruin goes up 1, yeah. Let's take a 5-minute break. This situation's about to get really hot. I'm going to take the narrations for your fail on this attempt to get the Merqueen by surprise. I think, she's making her entreaties to you and you're getting closer. And just before you lunge, I think she sees your weapon. You have a harpoon, right? Or a spear?
I have a cut down whaling spear, yeah.
That's right, yeah. She sees that and she kind of hisses, at your treachery. And you hear whale song.
Oh.
You hear whale song, and rising up behind the throne, which is kind of on the other side of the little island, there is an enormous whale made of water. This water elemental whale comes crashing down, it buffets you back, and she sort of swims up into it, atop it, like she's riding it. And the two guards are closing in for the kill. We'll come back to the scene in a moment. So Riven, Osto, Revel, you're trying to figure out what to do with this Pope, who's clearly some kind of undead creature, stabbed to the ground with this spear. There's a stone door here. There's other places to search too that you've passed by. What's going on right now?
So I'll look at the other two and I'm like, I have a solution, but I'm a little bit nervous. I'm afraid you might be a little bit jumpy about it.
I also have a solution. Let's hear yours first.
I have some oil and a torch.
Ooh. I have an axe, so I think cutting the head off first would be a good first step, and then maybe we go with the oil. I'd like to take the spear out before we set it on fire, though.
I would highly suggest not removing the spear and perhaps not setting it ablaze just yet. As we found before, Osto, our enemies can be our greatest allies if put to good use. Perhaps we keep
true.
this one under wraps for the time being until we've explored further.
All right, off with its head then.
And
Yeah, I
Revel,
think I'll
you
take the
said
head off at
something
least.
about the hollow walls talking to you. Do you mind if I examine your skull to see that you haven't sustained some sort of head injury?
I'm fine.
Wait, so the plan is to decapitate this thing first?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
starting off by decapitating it with an axe.
Done. Then what?
Pick up the head and see, like, is it showing any signs of
Yeah, it's
eyes
like
moving, mouth moving?
yeah, its teeth are snapping and its eyes are moving and it's called rattling around.
I mean, should we just take this thing apart bit by bit and then take the spear out? Doctor, any thoughts?
Well, my first thought is I would like to take that back to my lab and study it.
Oh, there you
Perhaps
go.
we could
Toss
find
it ahead.
perhaps we could find some means of conveying it back.
I mean, assuming you have a sack, you can certainly take this head and put it in the sack. That's no trouble.
Can we speak to it?
It has no intelligence or anything. Yeah.
Still,
I feel like dismembering is a good plan. I think I would like to start taking limbs off until
You can dismember it until it's no longer a danger.
yeah, and then pull the spear out and see what happens.
Nothing happens. You pull the spear out, and the spear is actually it is magical. I'm going to give you a hint. It's magical. It's worth 2 gold. I'm going to give you a hint at what it does. There's swords all over the place. And whenever you point the spear, at first it just happens, or you just do it by accident, I'm sure. But whenever you point the spear at a sword, you can feel it vibrating with hate.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, you have this. Whoever's keeping the spear, let me know.
I'll grab that spear and hang on to it.
And Master Riven, you're taking the head.
I was going to say, I'll take the head, and perhaps also you wouldn't mind handing me your axe, so I'll have something to arm myself with.
I have a couple of them, so here's one.
Revel, what are you doing in the meantime?
I'll look to see if there's anything else I can take besides the.
Nah, there's nothing else in the body or anything. Nah, that's
Okay.
fine.
I'll just say door or there's another hallway over here. And I'll point to the point
Yeah.
to where I came from.
Yeah, there's another hall, like the direction you came from.
I'm curious about the stone door, but I'm open to suggestions.
The door doesn't have the same sophisticated locking mechanism we saw in the other level, does it?
This stone door is, let's see here. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. There is something else on the body. There are around the neck, you'll have noticed this when you cut the head off. There are 2 keys on a necklace.
I suspect Riven would have seen that first when he inspected.
You can take
Yeah.
the keys. Yeah.
Take them. Take them.
You can have the spear. I'll take the keys. The keys
one-
might fit the stone door.
One of the keys clearly goes into the stone door. It's unclear what the other key goes to. Although, actually, you would know, Riven. You can tell that this is the key that was supposed to unlock the door to that bedroom. And you'll also notice now, as they're dismembering the body, that this individual was very large, probably like 7-8 feet tall.
Mm. Oh.
Yeah. It's all coming together. Sort of.
Now the wardrobe of dresses makes a lot more sense.
Yes, yes, it does.
It does, yeah.
All right. I will open the door with the key.
Very good. I'll tell you what you see at a glance. Then I'm going to cut back over to the hell that Alec and Ted are in the middle of. This is a cathedral-sized chamber containing an oppressive, clattering eminence of swords emerging from a pit, a tower of swords. Blades of all sizes extend in every angle from a great and terrible tower in a kind of brutal, gas-belching art installation. That's what you see at a glance. We'll come back to that. Here's the deal. The Mer Queen is going to take to the water on her whale elemental, and she circles the island. You have 2 rounds to defeat the Mer Crab guards, or the crab guards. On the 3rd round, if they're not defeated, the Mer Queen joins them, raising their endurance. Their endurance is 10 unless the Mer Queen is joining for that round, in which case they become a 12 endurance. That is what's going on here. I will also offer the spending of 3 hunt tokens. I will let you diffuse this situation.
Too bad we only got 2 between the 2 of us.
Perhaps a contribution from one of your fellow players would be in order, but if not, you got to fight.
I'm fine fighting, Ted, and if you're fine fighting, let's go.
It went so well in the last adventure that I really can't see a downside for this one.
Yeah.
All right, because I would donate a token if you want it. So
I'm fine fighting and I'm fine spending tokens, but it's such a toss up. That's what that's kind of the cool thing about
I
the meta
I
bit.
seriously want to kill one of them so you can raise it, so we can put it on our side. That'd be fun.
Here we go. You got to fight the guards they're basically like women with lower halves that are crabs, and they're armed with swords naturally, and they are coming in. And the queen is circling the island on her whale elemental. Tell me how you're vulnerable and roll weak point.
I am vulnerable because I feel bad. So I am trying to make sure that I don't get Theoden killed. So I am putting myself more at risk for Theoden.
Yeah, and I think that Theoden's vulnerable because, well, one, he doesn't really know what his weapon even does. Nobody does. We have no clue how that's going to work. And 2, I think that he's genuinely, off put by these monsters. He's not really a water guy, and these are kind of the the top of the water food chain here in this spot. So then I'll roll my weak point 4.
Alec has a 4, Theoden has a 5, or Alec has a 5 rather, Theoden has a 4. These are not great weak points. Combat 2, you need 10, and you need to beat them in 2 rounds or the queen joins. Let's have the first round.
Let's just get double 6s real quick and we'll be totally fine.
You want to roll it?
You know what? I'll roll it. I'll roll combat 2. That's 7 and a 5.
5 and a 2. Alec, you're taking a hit unless you mark armor.
No, I'm good.
Give me the first bit of the combat, Alec. What's happening?
The whale is circling around. I assume the queen is taunting us probably because that's what she seems to like to do. And these things come in. I square off against one, and then I see the other one on Theoden, and it looks like Theoden's a little overmatched. So I go out of my way to take my spear to block a strike from it. And while I do, I leave my back open. I take a hit in the back from the other crab person that I was fighting.
Theoden, keep it going.
Yeah, so as he blocks the first one, Tatum will try to whip around, and he can't prevent the shot that happens. I don't know if crossing swords of these things gives me any indication as to how this sword is magical in any way. But I think really he's just happy if it doesn't shatter instantly from blocking the first blow that he blocks.
Fantastic. Let's go and get the second combat going. Alec, roll a combat 3. Woof. 2, 3, and 1. At least neither of you got hit, but unfortunately, you also did not destroy the mermaids.
Which means now she joins the fight.
She joins the fight in the next round. But let's keep the narration going. What's happening?
It's just a stalemate as she's swinging around us on this island. These two crab people have obviously decided just to hem us in and try to wait for their queen to join the fight.
Yeah, I think that like the way that they're, no pun intended, pincering us, and where they're kind of pushing us back into like where she's circling around. And I think that it's like they're clearly enjoying it. You see them smiling and stuff like that while we're fighting for our lives. This is a bad spot to be in. And well, obviously it's about to be a worse spot to be in.
In the third round, you hear the whale song. The water elemental whale rises up, glistening in the firelight. And as it comes ashore, it's like half whale, half tidal wave, just rolling toward you. The Mer Queen riding it. This is some Final Fantasy shit going on here. The third round, she comes crashing down. It's the collective endurance is 12. Theoden, go ahead and roll combat 4.
Ooh, hold on. Can we change the scope of this real quick?
How so?
So I have she's like floating on this giant whale thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have the spear. I always have this 60 feet of rope hooked into it so I can huck it if I need to. I want to throw it into her and pull her off the whale.
Oh, that would be a ranged attack to lower the endurance. That's pretty good. We'll do this now. I will tell you that the fail condition is you will lose your spear. If you're okay with that.
Fine. Yeah, we're in a bad spot, so
you have 1 light die. I'll give you 2 light dice. I'll give you a second light die if you okay. A second light die if you just take 2 light dice. Take 2 light dice and let's just see what happens.
Okay. No, I can't roll. No, 2 3s.
2 3s.
It's fine.
Not good. This is all bad. It's going so badly. You chuck the spear. Unless you want to add a dark die and try again.
Yes.
You got this. Easy.
2 light, 1 dark.
There's a 6.
Very good. Okay. 6 light too. Endurance is lowered down to 11. Congratulations. That's an easier fight. Theoden, it's a combat 4. Let's see how it goes.
Combat 4. That is 7 with a 5.
7 with a 5.
Guess I'm taking more ruin.
This is disastrous. Keep it going, Alec. What's going on here? You did hook her though.
So I hook her with the spear and I try to pull her, but she's on a water whale that's moving forward. So as the water like gets into us and hits us, it just like lifts me off my feet, starts whipping me around, which bashes me into one of the crab people, which is why I take the wound.
What's your ruin up to now?
4.
4. You're still pretty well in it though. You have armor too, right?
Yeah, I started this with 1 ruin, so you know.
Yeah. So you can go. You're a scrapper. You can go a few. Theoden, you're hanging in there though. Let's have one more combat round. I think so normally she would leave the combat and join again later, but because you hooked her, she's in it now. Their combined endurance is still 11. So who wants to roll the combat 5?
You want me to? I can.
Yeah, you just had a good roll a
Alright.
second ago. Mine have been completely shit the whole time. So at least there's a look
Here,
up that way.
here we go. No, I rolled a 7
Jesus
and-
Christ.
with a 4 in there.
This
My turn to get hit.
This is such a tragedy. It's going so badly. So now you have the elemental, the queen, the 2 crab guards, Ted, and what's happening?
Yeah, I think that he's after the queen gets hooked, she and the elemental are kind of really focused on Alec, and that draws almost all of his attention. So Theoden isn't as martially adept as Alec is, so holding off these 2 crab people just is not in the cards for him, unless he gets like really lucky, basically, which he is not. So I think one of them just straight up picks him up and throws him kind of at the other one, and they cleave through his gambeson as it falls to pieces, when he's basically getting ragdolled around.
Alec? This disaster combat. What's going on with you?
I mean, I'm being like spun around now by this whale inside of the water, right? I'm in the water of the whale being drowned essentially because it's an elemental, so it's like getting into my lungs, getting into my eyes, getting into my nose, and there's like seaweed and all sorts of other sediment in the water of the whale, which is like making it difficult for me to breathe and see and whatnot.
With this cliffhanger, we'll go back to the other group. So, Tower of Blades coming out of a pit is what you see at a glance. An enormous cathedral-sized chamber. The tower is very, very tall. You have a set goal here. Safely scale the tower. You can see something at the very tip top of the tower glowing that you can't see what it is from the distance you're at.
Aside from our torches, what is the light source in this room that gives us
There's like fire where the tower is coming from. Yeah, it's like this. Imagine this. I mean, this is some real Conan shit, right? Like a tower of blades coming out of a pit and glowing from the bottom, and something glowing at the very top. I'll tell you.
Does it look like a heap of slag? Like, is it kind of like, because of that fire, very much like one solid metal thing? Or
make a hunt roll.
Okay.
You have 1 die unless you have a skill that will help you. Six. You get a token. It's like hundreds of swords, possibly thousands of swords fused together into a giant slag of metal swords. It's unclear what purpose this serves. It's unclear what is happening here, except it seems to be like, if you glimpse, like, you have to go into the chamber a little bit to like look over the edge of the pit that the Tower of Swords is in. But assuming you do that, you'll see that it seems to go down endlessly as well.
I'm wondering more of it. Is it fused? If we needed to climb it?
Yeah, you can climb it. It does seem solid and climbable. Dangerous, obviously, because it's made of a bunch of swords. There are also doors on either side of the chamber. About halfway in is where the pit is, but also to the left and to the right, the chamber itself is quite wide, about 80 feet wide. There are doors on either side.
Well,
So
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Revel.
I'm going to ask if either of them will hold my torch.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to take a running jump and start climbing. I'm broke.
To try to get to the glowing. You're very good at grabbing glowing, shiny things at the tops of tall things.
Yep.
Hopefully this doesn't come crashing down.
last time it almost killed me, but that's
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, you have to take a leap onto the tower, which you can do, and then start climbing it. This is going to be a risk roll, incredibly dangerous. Everybody gets to speak. What could go wrong here?
I mean, the jump, he can just impale himself on a bunch of swords when he jumps for it.
Or plummet down as
For
well.
starters, yeah.
I would say plummet down or
how far is the
impale.
gap between the
The
lip
gap
of
is probably
pit
like the gap is not that bad. It's probably like, I don't know, a good running jump will get you across, but
I'm going to say
and,
the higher.
and
he
there's
goes- I'm gonna
there's
say
no
the-
water coming out of here, right?
no.
Oh, okay.
The higher he goes, the sharper the blades.
That sounds like a good devil's bargain in a sense, but yeah,
Mhm.
but getting cut up is a reasonable outcome. Chris or Billy, any thoughts on what could go wrong here?
Yeah. When he hits the side, all of the glass marbles fall out of his backpack.
That would be a good devil's bargain. I'm definitely not going to do that as a failure. So, Billy, any thoughts?
I think it's just simple. You hurt yourself on the swords or you fall down. I'm fine with
Mhm.
either one of those as a fail.
Mhm.
If you're pressing forward, let's do it, Revel. What's your skill that's going to help you here?
Dexterity.
Love it. And devil's bargain. Chris, do you want to offer the marble thing as a devil's bargain?
Yes, I do.
It's a gentle
Yep,
devil's bargain.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I figure you're probably going to take that, unless anybody else has another idea.
Not one that would be
Yeah.
takeable over that. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
not that easy.
You
If
got
I
two
could,
light
I'd take
dice and
both.
one dark die.
All right. Hey, I got a 6.
Nice. Is it a 6
Yeah,
dark or light?
Light.
Light. Okay, great. Fantastic. Please describe your incredible feats of heroics here. What's going on?
Okay, so I kind of land when I take a jump. I don't land with my whole body. I don't run my whole body into it, which looks kind of weird. But and I put my hands in my shirt sleeves, leather shirt sleeves, hopefully, and just start climbing. Every once in a while, a sword goes flying off and down into the pit, or kind of skittering across the floor as one dislodges. But I make pretty good time.
Revel is climbing the sword tower. Riven and Osto. Once Revel is well out of range to be any help to you, you see a group of creatures crawling out of the pit.
Hmm.
They are sword person hybrids. They are people made up of dozens of swords fused together. They clatter and clank as they crawl out. You can see peeking between the gaps of the blades that make up their faces, little eyes and half mouths. There's about 3 of them. They're climbing out of the pit. Revel, you can see the chaos down below. Osto and Riven, what are the 2 of you doing?
I've got that sword hating spear, so
Oh, you have the sword hating spear. That's right.
probably try to poke them off before they get all the way up. But if they're all the
having
way
that
up, then
spear lowers their collective endurance. Their collective
Nice.
endurance, their collective endurance was 9. This lowers it to an 8. So good job on
Cool.
that.
Awesome.
You do have to have Riven. You do have to have a weapon that can harm them in order to join the combat. I think
I
the
gave him
axe
one of my
will.
axes,
Yeah,
yeah.
the axe will. So I think you'll have
Yes,
to.
but I also have this pair of keys, and there's doors nearby.
you just run, just run the hell out of it. Yeah, you don't have to join the fight. You can totally let Osto do it, but
Osto's got this with that magical spear.
you have a hatchet, and he's got like this sacred sword hating weapon. Riven, are you going to join the fight?
No, I'm yelling to Osto, I'll check the door.
Osto, you have these 3 sword guys. They're an endurance 8. How are you vulnerable right now?
I'm vulnerable because there's just one of me, and they're gonna surround me.
Yeah, go ahead and roll
Gonna
weak point.
swarm on me there. Oh, what?
Okay, that's pretty good. Go ahead and do the combat 1. Obviously, you can't beat them in the first round, but you can at least not get hit.
Oh, nope, that is a 1.
Start it up. What's going on?
Yeah, I think I think maybe I'm distracted by Riven running away, like expecting to be helped, and then they're a lot faster than I thought they were going to be. They seem kind of clunky, but they actually are able to, with their swords, climb up pretty quickly and get right on top of me before I realize it.
Fantastic. I love it. Revel,
Yeah.
here's what you
I
find at
think
the top of the pile, Revel.
Okay.
You find a partial sword, a demi blade, a puzzle piece stamped with the number 6. It has a
Um,
faint glow. As you take it in your hands, the glow dissipates and you can see the stamp on it.
Okay.
I don't think you
So-
know about the other pieces, though.
No, I don't. So I'm gonna kind of just secure it, and then from my perch, I'm gonna kind of look down and engage in ranged combat.
Nice.
So
Do you have a ranged weapon?
I'm sitting on top of a bunch of swords.
Oh, you're just gonna chuck a sword down there. Very good,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm gonna start dropping swords.
Just start dropping raining swords down on them. I like it. I'm into that. You can just join the combat as a combatant, or you can go for the endurance lower.
I think I'd rather go for the endurance lower.
Sounds good. Risk roll. I think the danger here is you're gonna fall off if you fuck this
Okay.
up. You have one light. Well, do you have a light die? What do you? Well, I guess the weapon is where the light die comes from. Riven or Ken, rather, you can offer a devil's bargain.
Whether you're successful or not, I think that you're going to have to give up something that you're holding. Perhaps the new sword piece you just picked up.
Oh,
I'm not gonna take that.
you have one
Any
light die.
other?
No,
All
that's
right.
the only offer I'm letting happen.
One
One light
light
out to
makes-
start. Yeah, to start. One light. You just need a hit. So
All right, I'm gonna use a dark die. I can't use another dark die, can I?
I'm trying to see. The die roller is not updating for me, so I can't. I'm not sure what you rolled.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Does it? Do you, when you add a dark die, is it supposed to re-roll both of them?
Yeah. So okay. So you're gonna roll one light
Okay.
die. What'd you get on that
Yeah.
roll? The light
You
die
wanted the
roll.
one light guy, I just got a 2.
Okay, so that's a fail. If you
Yeah.
add a dark die, you roll the light and the dark again.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. It didn't roll the. All right, so I got a 5 on the light.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I'm having to. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the rolls. So 5 on the light. That's a success. That lowers the endurance of the creatures down to 7, Osto. So you are pretty good shape for combat 2. 7's pretty doable.
let's have Adam. Snake eyes.
Snake eyes. What was your weak point?
It was a 1.
Oh Jesus
Oh.
Christ! The die roller is fucking
Yeah.
evil today. It's
Yeah, so I'm gonna
evil.
mark that armor for me there.
Give me the combat. What's happening here?
Yeah, I think.
Incorporating the rain of swords as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Probably getting hit by some of those swords there. Yeah, and maybe it's actually making it harder for me to determine like what is a sword golem and what is just a sword that's falling down on me. And yeah, and also like I'm used to like either using my axes or my pick, and the spear is kind of like longer and unwieldy. I'm not quite in it yet, and the swords are very used to using swords, so they they get all up in me and rip my armor to shreds.
Man, oh man. Let's go to this fight with the Mer people. You're at a combat 6 now, still looking for 11 on the 2 highest dice. Just to give our viewers an idea of what the stakes are here, what's your current ruin right now, Alec?
4.
How much armor do you have left?
1.
Theoden, what's your ruin?
4 as well.
How much armor do you have left?
0.
0. So if you take 2 hits, you are a goner. Do you want to stay in the fight, Theoden?
Yeah, I do. I think he does. There's no way out, there's no running, I don't think, for once in his life. But he does want to, if possible, kind of pull the bear trap that's chained to his side and throw it in the face of one of these crab people.
As an attempt to like get the endurance lowered.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they're too close into you already. I think they're
Okay.
surrounding you too much. I don't think you have the advantage of ranged here. This is gonna be a combat 6. Who's gonna roll it?
You can roll it, Billy, because you're the one that's most likely to die from this roll.
Yeah, this roll can absolutely kill you.
All right. I am rolling 6 combat, and that is a 9.
That is
And 4 4s.
Jesus Christ. Is that your thing?
Yes, that's my weak point. And 1 5, which
Damn.
is his weak point.
Poor
Oh,
Theoden. Womp womp.
Oh man.
Go out in style, Theoden. Alex, start the combat.
Well, I'm being asphyxiated. Like I'm just in the middle of this elemental now, trying to pull myself out, but the Mer Queen keeps using the water elemental to keep me in the middle of the whale as I'm just looking at Tid and like can't do anything to help.
Theoden,
Yeah.
describe your glorious end, or inglorious end, as the case might be.
Well, he doesn't get the name in the storybook of being killed by the quote unquote big bad. He definitely gets beset by these guards, and they're like toying with him. And I don't even think that, like, it's kind of like focus on one, you take a hit from the other behind you. And the final thing, I always love killing my characters. It actually did kind of the same thing in Cross Stitch. But so while his back is to one, I think no sword, you don't see a sword, but you see both halves of a big clawed hand around his abdomen, and it clips him just right into 2 pieces.
Yikes.
And you just see his little hat clatter to the ground.
Alec, it's a combat 7. You can try to win somehow if you're ready.
Here we go.
Can you spend hunt tokens in the middle of a fight?
I'll let you diffuse this if you spend
I rolled
tokens.
an 11.
Oh, well, there we go. Did you get any hits?
Yeah, I did, but I'll just take it on my armor.
Okay. You
Which
you
keeps-
win.
Can I
We could have done that one round earlier.
I know, right? I'm
Yeah,
like-
you're around late.
So
we'll come back to this.
okay,
You
that's
think about
fine.
what your glorious combat victory looks like, and then we'll swing back. Riven, the doors. Are you going to check the door to the left or the right? That's important.
I probably would have went left.
Okay. The door to the left it's actually like a very like it's an elaborate door. It's inlaid with brass, and it's very finely made. If you just attempt to open it, it opens though.
Oh, well, so no keys necessary.
No key necessary. Yeah.
I'm assuming I probably would have gotten the door open before I realized the fate of Osto and the rain of swords behind me.
Yes, you can turn back. You can hear the swords clattering down, I think.
Once I scan the room to make sure nothing's going to jump at me when I open the door, then I'll turn back to see what's happening behind me.
At a glance, it seems to be some kind of throne room.
Well, if no one's dead immediately, I'll go inside.
Riven, the bravery in this group is really impressive. I love it.
There's
Osto,
not much point for a doctor unless someone's wounded after all.
Osto, you want to have another go at this? This will be
Yeah,
a
let's do
combat
it.
3, looking for 7.
Looking for 7. Okay. 2, 3. That is a 7 with no hits.
With no hits. All right.
Yeah,
So
just barely.
I will tell you that these things they're fleshy on the inside. They're not pure golems. So that you can use that in your narration.
Yeah. I think once they rip my armor, I take a few steps back and probably manage to like butt one back into the pit. But the spear seems drawn to the sword bits especially, and actually start like getting in there and kind of like pulling them off, and that seems to do the trick. Just kind of ripping their sword skin off with the spear bit by bit. They do not seem to like that part.
Fantastic. And we'll come back to this in a moment. Alec, please go ahead and narrate the victory.
So you see Alec in the middle of this watery whale, drowning essentially as he watches this somebody he actually considers a friend get cut in half. He looks back up at the queen, who smiles down at him, and he yanks as hard as he can on the spear, which is lodged like in the crook of her, like her arm and her torso, like down there. When he pulls, it actually pulls through the armor that she is wearing across her gut, spilling that blood. And then there's a cut, and then we just see the aftermath of two crab people with their heads smashed in, water everywhere, and Alec holding the upper half of Theoden's body, saying, "I'm sorry, my friend," before it goes to black.
Fantastic. Before we forget, Alec, go ahead and roll a gold 11. Let's see what cool swords they had.
One gold.
One possibly cool sword. Billy, give me a D100.
Perfect. 99.
99. If the numbers equal cool, then it might be a really good one. It's not.
God damn it.
Sorry. Better than paper mache.
Okay, I'll clarify that. You find a couple of things. One, the queen does have a piece of the puzzle sword, the 9 of swords. She has the piece that is stamped stamped with the Roman numeral 3. You have that. One of the crab guards has a sword that is clearly humming and vibrating with magic. You can see it. It's marked with, it's stamped all along the blade with like spirals and images of eyeballs, and it's quite intricate work. Do you take that sword?
Yes.
Put that in your gear.
Also, you can take your crystal sword back.
And the crystal sword as well. Yeah,
I already
you can plunder
looted your
Teodon
body.
if you want.
Yeah, I did. I already copied that stuff over.
Yeah, you can just plunder Teodon, no trouble whatsoever. The other mer people with their queen slain will give you free passage out of here. I will tell you that there is that treasure chest as well with a large sea urchin on it. Something else to be mindful of on the little island.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to this though. Osto, go ahead and roll a gold 7.
7.
Yep.
Nothing.
0. People
No-
made
no
them
good
swords. No good
yeah.
swords. Yep.
I picked them all apart, so
They're all just fused to their body and worth jack shit. Fantastic. Revel, you can be climbing down.
Yep.
Riven, let's talk about what you find in this throne room. Now that you have a chance to look a little bit better, look a little more. Do you have a light source, Riven?
I have the torch I had from Rebel. I guess.
Oh, that's right. You're holding his torch. That's right. Well, in that case, let's show you. Say what you see. It's a wide and echoing chamber of mildewed opulence. A moldy, rust-colored rug leads from the door to a raised dais, which hosts 2 stately stone thrones. The rug is flanked by 2 large pools of water. The shadows of fish move subtly through murky, scum-gilded waters. A large black stone protrudes from one of the pools. A black sword dangles by a thread over one of the thrones. And an inscription above the dais reads, "May swords be ever blessed by the Emperor and Empress." So a lot to see in there. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Billy, if you want to go ahead and make a new character, you certainly can. I have a way of introducing them into the tale, unless alternatively, if you all can come up with a conceivable way of resurrecting Theoden, I'm open to that. It's going to cost you 3 tokens in addition to probably sacrificing quite a lot of stuff to make it happen, but I am open to it.
I think I can sew you back together, Billy.
I was gonna say, if you could just bust out that kit and put me back together.
I'm thinking that you need the lower half of a lobster. That's what you need.
Just some sword legs. I think.
sword legs, make you into a sword person. Actually, why don't we take 10 minutes so you all can think about how if you want to try to bring Theoden back, what that might look like. Otherwise, Theoden, Billy, you can make a new character. So
Yeah, I'll probably just roll one up just in
Okay.
case to have anyway. So
all right, sounds good. All right, we'll be back in 10.
You know,
I gather we have a plan.
We have a plan.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a good plan, but we have a plan.
Going to
I'm dying to hear it.
Frankenstein Theoden back together.
I am going to bring the top half of Theoden with me because I feel like I need to bury him, at least the top part of him. If I manage to find Master Riven, feel free to fill in the rest of the plan.
Being horrified at the poor fate of Theoden and seeing this as a possible opportunity to shine in my attempt of making outstanding field research in the ancient art of resurrecting the dead, I am going to attempt to turn Theoden's living essence into a mannequin, given that we have so many spare parts available to us in this dungeon, lethal spare parts.
Interesting indeed. I like the idea of that. That is going to be a fair amount of work, I think, to first get Alec back with the group and Theoden's body back with the group, and then to do the work of attaching and animating the various things that are required. Nevertheless, it's an interesting plan and I like it and I'm super into it. I don't necessarily, I mean, I kind of feel bad making Billy wait while we get to a place where this can happen.
Yeah. You guys are fine. I will say though that basically what I'm doing with my character sheet right now is kind of along the same plan. So I'm
Mhm.
using the orphan mannequin background, and how we were talking was basically just like attaching a bunch of weapons to me, pretty much. So
Okay.
I chose the ox occupation.
Swords, I
in case
hope.
that-
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are no shortage of swords.
Yeah.
And one thing I was going to ask, meta wise, just in the future, if it does come to pass, it's only a one shot, so it doesn't matter that much. But the drive, I was thinking that he would just take on Alec's drive with
Oh.
him,
Oh,
just
interesting.
kind of like now he's going to be attached to Alec.
Oh.
Because I don't think he would keep all the memories. He would. It's like when you imprint on somebody, that kind of thing. So he's like, Dad.
I'm so down with this. He can come live with me on my houseboat. It's fine.
I like it. I like it. Billy, in that case, then I will just check in on you frequently for devil's bargains and fatal conditions while the rest of us continue in the dungeon.
Works perfect for me.
Jason, I was thinking narratively, just so I have 4 hunt tokens I'm willing to spend because Riven's drive is to publish discoveries from ancient Caldor. That the ancient art of creating mannequins.
Well, yeah, and you've discovered something incredibly valuable to historians, right? Like, just you're in a throne room that is probably like the ne plus ultra of your work up to this point, right? Like, so I think that all makes sense to me, and if you're willing to spend the tokens to make the resurrection happen, I'm into that. So, but let's continue on with the story. That's a down the road sort of thing. With Billy in my sort of co-GMing spot here, Alec What are you gonna try to F with that chest, or are you gonna try to just go ahead and get out of here?
No, we're gonna mess with this chest. It's got to be worth it. Tayden's death has to be worth it.
I think the basic danger of the chest is that there is this this large sea urchin atop it, and so you have to like find a way to open the chest without getting struck by its poisonous spines. And so,
So-
what is your
so
plan?
I'm gonna stand far away from the sea urchin, like a
Yeah.
good like 30 feet. I'm just gonna huck my spear into it and pull it off.
Oh yeah, I like that. Okay. I think that's pretty good. And you have time. The mer people aren't going to interfere with you. So you'll be able to, since you have the right equipment, I'll let you eventually do that. And you'll get access to the chest. Inside of which, let's see if this was ultimately a good score or not. Gotta find the, okay.
Oh, while that's going on, Jason, just to let you know, I took the 60 feet of rope from Teodon, tied it around his like lower extremity so no more of him would fall out, and then tied him to my back.
Okay, good. I like it. All right. Just tie him off like a sack.
Yeah, he's like a C-3PO on my back right
yeah,
now.
that's good. Yeah. The chest was really valuable, actually. Keeping with a theme of your character, it's filled with 50 large, beautiful pearls. It's a really good score. If you want to like try to like huck all, well, so the thing is, well, pearls are pretty light, so I think you'll be able to take them all pretty easily. They're probably about the size of like your your knuckle or something, but there's a lot of them, and collectively they're worth 6 gold. So yeah.
Sounds good. I grab them all.
Yeah, take them all. And then we'll figure out how you're getting where you're going to go from here, I guess. Because you don't really know the full diameter of this space, or like what you have to be willing to get back in the water and see what's up. So let's check in with the rest of the group. Osto, you found no swords of remark of note. Revel, you managed to get down. Riven, you're in this throne room. What are you doing right now, Riven?
So there's a sword of Damocles hanging over one of these.
Yes, and you can tell very quickly it's one of the pieces to this puzzle sword.
Oh, well, that immediately takes my interest. Can I see if the thread or line is attached to anything obvious in terms of either a trap or a pulley or something like that in the scene?
Yeah, make a hunt roll.
Okay. One.
Oh no.
It is, and indeed you trigger it.
In fine form.
Um,
Oh no.
basically, it's the trap is pretty simple. It's not deadly, but it essentially raises a large obelisk at the entrance to this throne room, blocking you from escaping and blocking them from getting in.
Oh dear.
And I hate to flex my co-GM bit, but you also lose all your hunt tokens.
Thank you for the reminder. How many
Yeah,
did you
that's a
have?
lot.
He had 4.
You had 4.
All intended for my resurrection.
What a bummer. You do get the blade though. You can go ahead and the traps, maybe you were just like kind of looking and you accidentally bumped it and sprung it, but you can go ahead and just take the blade. It is number the blade is number 7. Stamped with the Roman numeral 7. How many is that now? 5, 6?
I have 2.
I have 2.
I have 1.
And then Alec has 1. So
6.
yeah. So you have 6 of them. 6 of the 9. 6 of
Nice.
9. Isn't that a character on Battlestar, I think? Yeah. 6 of 9. Fantastic. Well, Riven, now what?
Well, when the obelisk goes up, does another entranceway or opening, like, is something else being let into the room, or
No, it seemed to be just like a trap, just to keep you in here.
because I suspect I've already met the king and queen or emperor and empress. I think.
I have no idea, but
Assuming the 9-crowned entity below that ate the duck eaters was the queen.
I mean, I think you're all making like assumptions that I haven't confirmed anything yet. So yeah.
9 crowns, 9 pieces.
I will look around the room and see if any of the markings or glyphs or runes give me any indication to a connection to either some of the swords I identified earlier or the spear I saw in the lich type priest.
You can take a hunt roll, which would be with I think it's just 1 die.
I have deduction if that's of any value.
I don't think in this case it would be, because there's not, I mean, like, the only writing that you really see is just that message when you walked in. But so, well, actually, deduction might work because you're kind of like deducing from the position of things, because there's really no writing to really interpret. So you might be able to deduce something just from the way the room is laid out or whatever.
Right. 2 6s.
Oh, take your token. I will tell you that sitting in one of the thrones will raise an exit from this room. You can figure that out from, I think you can actually, like, you can see the mechanism that dropped the original or that raised the one side, and you can see a similar mechanism that leads to another part of the throne room, but you're not clear how to operate it necessarily. Or no, you can figure it out. It has something to do with that throne, basically.
The opposite one, not the
The
one
opposite one, yeah.
that I will sit myself in if I'm pretty sure that that's going to raise the entrance.
When you sit in it, it does. You hear the door. You hear the wall lowering behind you.
Ooh. Okay, good. And when I get up, does it stay lowered?
No, it does not. It raises again.
Forever throne room. I will call out to my comrades if they're still alive.
Indeed. Let's check on your comrades. Revel and Osto, the way seems to be blocked that Riven went, but there is another door on the opposite side.
I think while I'm here, I would like to spend my hunt token to see what kind of swords are around.
How many tokens are you burning?
I just have the one.
Kojium, will you roll a D100 for me, please?
I will. That is 93. Wow,
93.
a lot of 90s.
A lot of 90s. Yeah, the 90s are coming in hard. This is so stupid. You find a sword that is an octopus tentacle. It's an octopus tentacle on a pommel. An oddity, a curiosity, may be valuable to the right buyer, but not useful as a sword.
Yeah.
You could
Okay,
grapple things with it.
It just waggles around, flops around.
I will take that though,
Indeed.
just in case someone likes it. Get hungry.
Very well. Revel, what are you doing right now?
I'm gonna go towards the door on the other side. I'll go through it.
Indeed. Let me take a look and see what you see. Okay. This door is a simple door, a plain door. But you can feel as you approach it, it's warm to the touch, Revel. Do you attempt to open it?
Considering that I'm chilled to the bone, yes.
Yes. You are no longer as chilled because when you open the door, you're looking into a cavernous stone chamber that hosts an ever-burning forge. Next to it is an immense, decorative 15-foot sword buried in the floor, and an ornamental anvil-shaped pedestal, which bears the inscription, "By Gladio's power, may any offering find its edge." There's also a small pile of ingots.
Right. So I'm going to warily go to the pedestal, to the anvil. I'm gonna take an ingot, and what else do I have? The skin, the sword hilt with a skin blade that wavers. I'm gonna put it on top of the anvil.
Oh, interesting indeed. Okay, give me a moment here. Oh, okay. So the skin sword was like a long sword in shape, even though it's made of skin. When you place it on the anvil, it transforms into a scimitar made of skin.
Still wavers.
Yeah, it's still just a
All right.
skin sword, but it's a scimitar now.
Wish I still had the paper mache one.
Yeah. Well, it would be a paper mache
Yep.
scimitar or whatever. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. You hear a voice behind you. It's the same voice that you heard earlier. In fact, you're probably in the chamber that was the other side of that wall. Are you here because you seek nothing more than to plunge cold steel into the belly of your enemies?
Yes.
And you hear heavy footsteps. You can see now, walking into the light, the glowing light of the forge, is a knight. Very tall, 8 feet tall, dressed in very roughly fused together pieces of armor. A helmet that looks as if it's been fused to the flesh. And carrying a sword that is half molten, dripping hot molten metal on the ground. Then plunge your sword into me and feel the thrill of Gladio's blessing.
Okay. I'll do my best to plunge my skin scimitar into, because that's the only sword I have.
You do that, and it looks down and sees this bendy attack, nothing happening. He says, "You mock me. You mock the blessings of Gladio. You are not even worthy of running through with cold steel, with the fine blade. So instead, I will feed you to the forge." And he reaches out his gauntlet to grab you. This is a combat revel. He
Alright.
is a pretty tough fight. He's an endurance 10. How are you
Okay.
vulnerable?
Well, I would say that being thrown in the forge would be bad. That's probably the first way.
Yeah, I mean, like,
One of many.
yeah, he's just bigger than you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
roll a weak point. Let's see if the die roller is going to
Six.
keep being a fuck
It's just
today.
kids.
It sure is. The die roll is determined to kill you all. Let's have a combat 1. Looking
So
for 10.
Is there any way right now that I can do a ritual outside of combat or to lower?
No,
Okay.
you're too close
That's
and he's
fine.
grabbing you.
Yep.
Do a combat 1. Let's just see if you take any hits for now.
I do not.
Okay, very good. Give me the first round of the combat then.
So I try to grab. I try to grab his arm. That's clenching me. Does that work? I mean, or do my hands just go through?
He's very, very hot to the touch, so it probably
Okay.
hurts like hell. Yeah. Well, unless
Okay.
you have a glove, you'll feel the heat.
It feels good. I'm kind of cold.
Yeah, you are indeed. Yeah.
So I'll start by trying to pull and kind of assume that it's way too strong. So I'm gonna kind of keep trying to do that. Does he lift me off the ground?
Oh, he will easily. Yeah.
So then I'm going to use like my feet and run up his body as he's lifting me up off the ground, so I can start kicking him in the face, and reach the hand one of my hands down to my belt where my thorned whip is.
Fantastic. Do you want to do a combat 2?
Yes,
Looking for 10.
I got a 9 and I got a ruin. So
Narrate away.
I as I start kind of climbing up, pivoting at my neck because he's holding me tight there, he just kind of shakes me a little bit and very, very unceremoniously just tosses me into the forge and walks away.
Wait, are you dead?
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh.
Revel tossed into the fires
With ruin 6.
with ruin 6. Osto.
Oh, do you not have armor to mark?
Oh shoot. Oh well, too late.
Well, you can mark armor if it's okay. I mean, it's not too late. You're technically entitled to mark armor.
All right. I guess I do have armor. I forgot that I still had one left.
Yeah, you can mark it and be saved for 1 round.
Yep. All right. So as I'm doing that, because he's just holding me with one hand right now, he just grabs at my chest and to kind of get it out of the way, he just rips my chainmail shirt off.
Now he might finish you this time. Let's do 1 more combat round. It's combat 3.
So this is kind of cool. So I got a 10.
I'm not seeing your rolls. Where are your rolls at? Is anybody else seeing the rolls?
I am not seeing them.
Yeah,
no.
I'm not seeing them. Like, where are they
I think
at?
it just desyncs. I notice that happens once in a while with the roll.
Yeah, I think
All right.
so.
So I got a
Well, what are
6.
your dice?
I got a 6 and a 4.
Oh, okay. So you do destroy him, but you die.
Yeah. Okay. So
describe it, please.
he's just walking me towards the forge, and when I he gets closer and closer, and I can feel the heat, and I start just hitting him with my boot in the head. It doesn't really seem to be doing much since it's already dead, but I get my hand on my barbed whip, and I just kind of whip it around his neck, and it curls around his neck, and he's kind of surprised. And as he's surprised, in his surprise, he lets go of me with his one hand, and I start to fall into the forge, and I'm still holding his hand that has me grabbed around the neck and drag him in with me.
Indeed. Osto, I don't think you're really aware of any of that. You might have heard maybe some slight sounds of struggle, but the chamber's quite big that you're in. So what are you doing right now?
So the the door that Riven went into
Is
is
blocked.
sealed.
Yep.
Um,
You can see where Revel went, but
Yeah.
you just can't tell what's going on in there.
yeah, I think after finding my octopus sword, I would follow Rebel into the open door.
You don't see Revel. You do see this tall armored knight at the forge making swords. What do you? I don't think he's noticed you yet.
And he's like
He's
big,
really
right?
big, tall guy. Yeah.
I think Asta would slowly back away and
And
go back
close
to
the
the
door.
other side. Go back to the, like, hey, Riven, we could. What are you doing in there?
Riven, what are you doing in there? You're muted, Riven.
I think the door slowly opens at that point, and I'm shouting out to Osto, please come in and block the door.
Well, so no, you can't. The thing is, like the one that blocked the door you came in, that's blocked. That's not going down.
Oh, so it's the other one.
Yeah, when you sit down, when you sit down, that one raises and lowers depending on whether you're sitting in it. So you're still in a trap. You're still kind of trapped.
Right, because I can't get to the opening even though it's open.
Exactly.
I guess I will try to guess what's the minimum amount of weight that needs to be put on this pressure plate in order for me to be able to secure it and reach the door.
Do you have equipment that you could just test the theory and see?
I have a bandolier of heavy leather books as armor.
Okay, very good. If you want to disarm, if you want to take off your armor and put it there, I will let it counterbalance the throne.
All right, very good.
And indeed, the chamber door opens up. This is behind the thrones. There's like a little gap in the wall, and it opens up. Do you proceed in?
With the torch to make sure I see what I'm walking into.
Indeed. Let's see where it goes. This appears to be an ancient stone apartment from a crueler time. The furniture is all sculpted from swords, and table, chairs, mirror, bed, all lie covered in dust. A skeleton's remains splay across the bed. Another sits in a heap beside a sword and a pair of golden opera glasses. What do you do?
Just looking around the room, is it of the same larger scale than the one that was on the lower level, or is it more of a
No,
average?
it's more of a human scale. Yeah.
The opera glasses are the only thing that stand out on the skeleton beside the bed.
Yeah. Well, you can do a hunt roll and see. There might be more.
Five. Something terrible is going to happen.
Take your token. The skeletons are all wearing jewelry, rings of emerald. There's also quite a lot of silver coinage just piled around the room. It's a pretty good little score as far as it goes. But you start to hear a sound. Weeping. No more. Please forgive me. No more. And a spirit materializes in the room. She is translucent, beautiful if not for the fact that she's some sort of ghost. She's not armed in her ghostly form. Her hands are spread wide in front of her, and she wears a look of anguish on her pale features. She's wearing fine robes, and her image is wearing the same jewelry as one of the skeletons.
Oh.
She says, "Are you here to offer me absolution for what I have done?"
Oh, my lady, I will do my best to help your spirit rest.
How can one such as me rest? One who has committed such violence, one who has committed such treachery.
Why, an act of contrition, of course, my lady.
What would you have of me?
Your greatest secret to be revealed. To save myself and my comrades would be an act of selfless contrition, I should think.
Very interesting. Make a risk roll. What what could go wrong here? Billy, any thoughts?
Um, maybe she something about having to release a secret. Like she's fine admitting that she's treacherous or she's committed these atrocities, but something about you wanting her secret just sends her into this frenzy.
Oh, I was just reminded by chat that the night thing was actually defeated by Revel. So we'll
The-
retcon
Yeah,
because you got a 10.
the knight wasn't. It was the thing that was talking to me. Or was the thing that was talking to me the knight?
It was the night. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll retcon that scene for you, Osto. Sorry, Taydon, say it again.
Oh, I was just saying that she thinks that he's trying to kind of slight her, so it'll anger her in some way.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Eric, any other thoughts on what could go wrong here?
No, I might have a doubles. I think I might have a devil's bargain though.
Okay. Riven, do you have a skill that will be helpful or a piece of equipment?
Piece of equipment. Unless she's, I don't know, enamored by the pieces of the 9 swords that I hold. I don't really think I've got anything to motivate her. And my skills, deduction is the only thing that comes remotely close. I can't even fit that in.
I guess it could depend on how she's talking, right? If she's being very, like, if she's being mysterious about whatever her slight is, you could have to kind of put the pieces together yourself based on what she's saying.
Yeah, I don't know if she is though. Let's hear the devil's bargain, Eric. That might be Riven's only chance of getting a die here.
So no matter what happens, the ghost or whatever she is, rides along in your head until you're able to find a way to get her to rest.
Well, I can do that. That's quite fun.
You have 1 light die, and I think because you're dealing with a ghost, it's inherently dangerous, so take a dark die as well.
6 dark.
6 dark. Your ruin goes up. That's probably because she's now part of you. But she's going to accept your bargain here. She believes that she's going to receive some kind of absolution. Obviously, you don't actually have the power to grant that to her. And so yeah. So instead, she's going to like possess you or become like she's going to haunt you essentially. But But she will tell you that the only way out of here, the only way to survive the trials to come, is to brandish the 9 of Swords before you.
Could I also intuit, now that she's part of me, how I could almost conceive or conceptualize assembling those pieces as if it's
Yeah, but you just need the other pieces.
sure, but I mean,
yeah.
I'm almost sort of seeing like a vision of her sort of this thing coming together, this coalescing of power or something.
Yeah, I love all that. That all is great. But you just got to find the other pieces, and I think you all still have a few more to go. Whether you find them all or not is unclear.
She'll help Riven sense them out.
Yeah, she'll be like she'll be a little
She'll be
sword
whispering away,
detector.
he has one, and he.
There is all the rest of this treasure in the room, though, so that's something.
So what were those pieces again? Sorry, silver pieces and something.
There's quite a lot of silver. It's equal to 3 gold total, which you can mark on your gold tracker. And then there's quite a lot of emerald jewelry as well, which is worth 3 gold total. How do you know she's riding shotgun in your spirit, your brain right now? How can you tell she's with you? She disappears, but she's not gone.
I think I have a more detached and cold, almost clinical, calculating perspective. Even though I had a little bit of that before, now it's far more pronounced. So I feel distanced, and my survival mode, my personal survival mode, seems to be more heightened than it was my concern for my comrades before, even though that was, thin at best.
Very good. Take a condition to memorialize what's going on with you and this spirit. And I'm going to check in with Alec. Alec, if you wade into the water with the remains of Theoden tied to your back, and quite a bit wealthier than when you got here, you will eventually be able to swim the perimeter of the cavern and find the way out.
It's I do that, and as I'm doing it, as I'm about to get in the door, I'm like, well, Ted, and I look over my shoulder. Let's go find our way out of here. I start talking to the dead body.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
you just see his slack-jawed face over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Indeed. You can definitely wade into the water. You can begin, you'll notice that like you're aware of the mer people, but but with their queen dead, they're not brave. They're staying, they're cowed. You'll swim around in the dark for a time until you find some shore. And that shore will eventually lead to that part of the stream that was blocked by swords. Remember where Revel originally kind of broke off from the group at? And so you're in that spot. You are to your left as you come into the corridor. You can kind of go forward a little bit. And to your left, there's the direction of the sand. And to your right is the way that Revel went. Which way are you going to go?
I'm going to go back towards the entrance to see if I can't find my companions.
You can do that too. You'll be able to navigate back to the entrance of the dungeon, and you'll see that they unblocked the way that the Duck Eaters were at.
Oh, well, then I'll go that way.
It does hang left almost immediately into the Duck Eaters latrine area, which was not searched by the others if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'll look around. Sure.
Go ahead and do a hunt roll.
I'm like, Theoden, let me know if you see anything as I start looking around.
Nice. Let me tell you what you see at a glance, and then we'll do a hunt roll to see if you learn any more. Gotta find it here. That is area. Okay, very good. It's a 30-foot square room. Feathers are caked to the floors in masses of unidentifiable viscous fluids. A pile of swords has been carefully corralled into one corner, naturally. One wall is poorly bricked up with stones and mud, obviously hiding a passage on the western wall. Brown paint, maybe, spells out a single word, don't.
What do you think, Ted? And do you think they went that way? I don't think they went that way. We probably should listen to the don't, unlike us before going into that water.
I don't think he's going to respond.
No, he's not going to respond.
You can hear him in your head if you want. That's totally fine.
Sure,
He
yeah.
can say
I'm
whatever
fine.
you want to hear.
I'm into that.
Yeah, whatever you say, he just totally agrees with you.
Nice. I am gonna like search around the area though, see if there's anything worth any kind of value here.
You can do a hunt roll.
Does my hunting give me another die or the torch that I have pulled out?
Yeah, I think you can take 2 dice. Go ahead.
I got a 5.
Take your token. You don't see anything of particular value in this room, except you do hear on the other side of that plainly, poorly bricked up with stones and mud wall, you can hear, is there someone there? Please, is there someone there?
What do you think, Taden? We should just leave it alone, right? Yeah, we should. I just walk away.
You can go back out into the hall. You can keep going in the direction that your companions went. I'll remind you that about halfway down this new corridor, there was a door to the left where they heard some duck eaters.
I'm just going to use my hunting to track them.
You can just join up with them. You'll walk past the Bloody Pope, go through that door, and come upon Osto. Osto, we have to retcon that one scene. That night is destroyed. The scene is otherwise as we left it.
Hey, where's Theoden?
I'm sure there's almost certainly some evidence of
oh yeah, right there.
yeah. There's also probably evidence of Rebel having been tossed in the forge, right? Boots or something.
I point over my shoulder to Taden's body.
He looks bad.
He's very dead, I think. He keeps whispering in my ear, though. It's disconcerting at times, but it's nice to have a companion.
You'll see Revel's skeleton in the forge. He's quite dead as well.
Where's Revel and Riven?
Riven is behind that big slab of stone, and Revel went for a dive in the forge. And the forge is like going, like everything.
It's going. It's hot.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure everything he had on him is melted to slag as well.
That's unfortunate.
Very. So unless Riven was crushed or something under there, he's the only other one alive.
Well, we should go find Master Riven then.
Yeah. I think I like to search around where the thing dropped to see if there's any like way to, if there's any secret latch or way to like lever it up.
You could do a hunt roll. Go ahead.
I have trails and paths. I don't know. Strength.
I don't think that's going to apply here.
Yeah, let's just do one then. Come on. It's a 5.
Take your token. I don't think you're any close to figuring out how to get this thing to lower. It's very heavy. It is purpose built. Unless you could just want to start wailing through the wall or something with your miner's pick. I mean, you could probably do that, but like, it'll probably take a long time.
That probably takes a long time. Yeah.
You can hear more of those sword creatures down in the pit, climbing the wall or climbing the interior of it.
Definitely fill in Alec about what happened there, and we don't really have a lot of time to do what we're gonna do.
Maybe I have plenty of coin and treasure. Maybe we should just get Master Riven and leave.
That sounds like a great idea.
The getting Master Riven part is the tricky part here.
Did we see any other, like if we followed that wall, I guess, would we think there were any other entrances there? Maybe through where the duck men are. That's the right direction.
I mean, there are other parts of the dungeon. That's true. I mean,
yeah.
Asta, you see me look over my shoulders like, what do you think, Ted? And well, that's a good idea.
What does Ted recommend?
I'll remind Riven too that there are 2 pools of water in the throne room as well. There are 2 pools of water on either side of the sort of carpet that bisects the room. On one of those pools of water, there's in one of them there's an obelisk coming out of the water. That might be of interest to you, Riven, if you wish to try to figure out what to do here.
Just a plain obelisk, no markings on it.
You'd have to get in the water to go look, but yeah.
I will. Is the water very deep? I'll use a sword to probe and see.
Plenty of swords to choose from here. Let's see here. Oh, very interesting. You can just wade out into the pool. It's not that it's deep, but not so deep that you can't wade into it. Well, yeah, you can do a hunt roll.
Okay.
I'll give you 2 dice. Since you're using the sword to poke around.
5.
A couple of things. The pillar, this stone coming out of the water, you'll notice has a hole in the top of it, like a slot.
Large enough for a sword's blade.
Yes.
Can I reach it?
You can.
Well, no rest for the wicked, I suppose.
Indeed not.
Slide our sword in there on tippy toes, perhaps.
You slide the sword in. It does cause the obelisk to lower. There's one problem here now that you've waded out into the middle of this pool.
Do I get sucked down a drain somewhere?
No, nothing like that. But the pool is filled with ravenous, hungry, carnivorous fish. You can feel them biting and nipping at you. What do you do?
Do I have a surprise for them? I drain water the entire thing.
I mean, you just need to get to the other side. It's not that you're going to just kind of splash around and get to the back out of the pool. But Osto and Revel, you'll hear the pillar drop. You have access to the throne room now.
Oh, I must have done something. Great. Let's get in there.
You'll see Riven splashing around in the water. Riven, you're being nipped at by fish. What's going on right now?
Streaking like a schoolgirl and hopping out of the pool as quickly as I can. Probably.
Riven, stop playing around. We got to get out of here.
Indeed. Just take a condition that's like bite, like you just have small bites on your body from the fish, but otherwise you're able to get out. Are you all abandoning the dungeon at this point?
Riven's not, because he's driven now by this renter in his head. He was whispering which one of the 2 people in the doorway had the pieces of
Alec and Osto, are you gonna what are we doing here?
Master Riven. I point at Theoden's dead body.
Oh dear. Oh, oh, my comrades, I'm so terribly sorry. Oh dear.
Revel has met a similar fate, or a worse fate, maybe. And I don't know about worse. He's dead in the forge.
Oh. And I seem to have uncovered the key to us escaping this terrible place. We need to assemble the pieces of that puzzle blade that Osto, you and I found some parts of. There are 9 pieces in total, and I have a picture in my mind of how they must be assembled to unlock our path out.
I have this piece, and I pull out the third part.
Oh, that's 5 altogether.
I have 2 as well.
Is there anything preventing us from just walking out the way we came in?
I don't believe so.
I think that is maybe the solution to the puzzle.
There are two of the swordmen coming out of the pit right now. If you don't leave immediately, you're going to have to combat them.
Yeah, Riven, let's skedaddle.
Yes, let us vacate.
Sounds like they're dragging you along,
Inside
Riven.
of my head, if there's anything, if there are any other pieces, shards of the sword in this room or in the adjoining room with the sword creatures in it, the forge.
I'll give you a hunt roll and just see if it works.
What could possibly go wrong after 2?
You have no way of knowing, and regrettably, while the other 2 are escaping, you're hanging back, trying to figure out if there's any more shards of sword, and there are now 2 sword men coming out of the pit. Riven stands alone, Osto and Alec, unless you go back and help him.
I look
I think they're leaving you.
I look muddled and confused. It's all good.
Theoden, should we go back? No? Okay, let's leave.
Riven, please tell me how you're vulnerable and roll weak point.
I am vulnerable because I am more caught up with the conversation I'm having with this thing inside of my head. And although I'm aware there are creatures coming towards me, I'm not aware how quick they're moving. So
what is your weak point? Roll a weak.
let's see here. A 5.
A 5. Yeah. You're going to need, it's endurance 8 to defeat them. The first combat round, you'll roll a single combat die. Let's see how you do.
Right. Well, I've got my trusty hand axe, compliments of Octo, so that's about what I've got. One.
Not enough. Start the combat. What's happening here?
I take my best swing and connect with very solid sword-like arm that doesn't seem to even vibrate from my not only unskilled attempt, but fairly weak elderly arm. Yeah.
I don't think you have your armor either, do you?
I have a stiff wool cloak, so I've got.
Oh, you have that. Okay, you don't have your books though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of protection, but not much against swords.
Yeah. Let's have a combat too. Let's see how this is going to go.
Right. 6.
Oh, you have to roll 2 dice now.
Sorry.
So roll 1 more just to see what it would have been.
A 5 and a 6.
That's enough to defeat them. You do take a hit, however. I want to see Riven destroy these 2 sword creatures. This should be fun. I want to see what this old man can do.
Well, I'll take the hit on my stiff wool robe and have it shredded by one of their vicious sword blows with a narrow little streak of blood across Riven's bony chest. But he's able to
hack into where he perceives to be the weakest point in their head and neck joint in one of them, and uses it to position to have that dying one collide with the other one and jam its blades into it.
Do you then make a hasty retreat, Master Riven?
I think I'll take a moment to revel in unexpected glory and then make a hasty retreat. Unless there's something, is there anything of value besides pieces of swords on these things? No, I guess not.
You could do a combat, or you could do a gold 8, see if they had anything. Yeah.
Gold 8, you say?
Mm-hmm.
1.
Billy, do you want to roll on the sword table for me?
Oh, sure. 18.
18. We love the sword table. This is so stupid.
That seems to
There's
happen a lot.
a stiff bristled brush sword for horses or something, I suppose. In case that's what you're able to, has no value, no intrinsic value whatsoever. But you can grab it and you can run, and that would conclude Temple of 1,000 Swords if everyone is making a hasty exit out of the dungeon.
Can I spend my 2 hunt tokens on the way out to get some to roll on the sword table?
To roll on the sword table. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's 2 for 3 rolls, right? Is that how that works?
You get 3 rolls for 2. Yeah.
All right, that's what I'm gonna do. All
I just
right.
have a spare one to drop to.
28,
Okay.
97,
Okay.
and 79.
Interesting. Oh, okay. It's worth. It's only worth 1 gold, but it's cool. It's a loot sword. It's a sword that's also a loot. Yeah. This module is very silly.
I will also
right.
spend my hunt token on the way out.
Give me a D100.
79.
Oh, roll again. That was the loot sword.
Same one. 83.
83. Oh no. It's a rattlesnake sword.
Oh no.
You could just leave it if you want.
Yep. No thanks. No thank you, Snake.
Just leave that.
I'm tempted to. I have 3 hunt tokens. I'm tempted to see, is it possible to use those
to find a sword on the way out? Yeah, you absolutely
the
can.
remaining shards of the sword?
Oh.
Ooh.
I will, for 3 hunt tokens, I'll let you find 1 shard.
That's not going to do it, though.
We can't even put the sword together anyway because Revel had a piece and it's burnt in the forge.
I'll give you that one.
I bet you it's not burnt. Yeah, I'm going to say, I bet you it's not. But I need to spend the 3 hunt tokens to find that one because I know he's in the forge. They told me that.
I mean, to get it out safely. Otherwise, you might have to encounter things because the dungeon is very much aflame at the moment.
Only give us 6 of the 9 pieces. It's not worth it. I'll use the 3 hunt tokens to reassemble Theoden.
Indeed.
Nice.
Very good.
All I got is a laugh.
So we're gonna do Hearthfire. Eric, since your character is burned alive, you can't do Hearthfire. However, I do think if you want to think of a fine epilogue for Revel, I'm open to that. And if you can justify another character finding your hoard or bequeathing your hoard to them, if you had a hoard, I don't know if you did, you can certainly do that for a new character, but you don't otherwise have a lot to do during Hearthfire. Everybody else will do Hearthfire. Go ahead. Well, on Theoden, you're going to be really quite changed when this is all said and done. So I want to know what that looks like, the resurrection of Theoden. We need to kind of build that scene and figure out what is going to happen here, what Theoden's form is going to be. And everybody else will just do Hearthfire options. Please take a look at the lower half of the character keeper starting on line 61. Take some time to read through these options. There's horde, household, carousing, equipment, and so forth. We're going to take a 15-minute break so you all can read through the options and figure out what you want to do. Revel, if you want to make a new character, you can certainly do that. Or Eric, if you want to make a new character, you can certainly do that while we're doing this. And let's just see how we end up. You have to have enough treasure to meet your burdens, so make sure you account for that in your planning for Hearthfire. So we'll take 15, and if you have any questions, you can just save them for when we get back. It was a messy ending. It was not a heroic ending. It was arguably not even a very successful dungeon run. You got a fair amount of money, so I guess that's worth something. But light a couple of companions, a fair amount of treasure, and yeah, interesting. But a very interesting discovery in the world for Master Riven. I'm sure the Academy will love to hear about weird sword temple. Oh yeah, and a ghost as well. So yeah, it was a chaotic, messy ending, but nevertheless, we have to do Hearthfire. First things first for Hearthfire, you have to give up treasure, either gold or found equipment, found treasure equal to your current burdens. If you do not, then your character will die penniless and destitute and never achieve their drive. So is there anybody who is not able to cover the burdens?
I have a couple of questions before we get to that, because there's a couple of items on my sheet that I don't have like gold values for.
Ask me and I shall tell you.
The crystal magic sword.
Yes, it's worth 2 gold.
And the humming vibrating sword with the spirals in the eyes.
That is a weapon you cannot sell and that you will not willingly part with.
Oh, okay. What about the piece of the sword of 3?
Those have value only with the other pieces.
Okay.
They're curiosities otherwise, but not.
So we're doing the same thing that we did last time, where we pool our gold and then divvy it up before
you've decided.
burdens.
You've decided on that. Okay.
Well, what about the tentacle sword?
The tentacle sword is actually, there's probably some weirdo noble who would buy that because it's a curious object. I'll give you a gold for that.
Alrighty.
The brush sword, no, that's just a brush with a pommel on it. So
Very useful though. Very useful.
That puts me at 6 gold altogether with 7 burdens.
So
you
you need the pooling then.
Yeah, I don't suppose I could sell the oysters that I have.
You do have a bunch of oysters too. I don't think they're going to amount to enough to get a game currency gold worth. I mean, you can sell them for like your pocket money or whatever, but not enough for to go towards horde or drive.
All right, I have 9 gold. Asta, how much you got?
I have 6.
6.
And I've got 6 with silver coin and emerald jewelry.
So that's a total of. I can
I'll do the math.
21.
Yep, 21.
That's 7 each.
That's 7 each. There you go. That's how much gold everybody gets.
So everyone
Jeremy.
so Mark, or so Osto, you just barely covered your burdens. Congratulations. Very successful dungeon run. Alec, I gather you're able to cover yours.
Yes, with 2 left over.
And Riven, you're able to cover yours as well with 3 left over. Fantastic. Let's do Hearthfire then. First of all, let's figure out if Theoden's coming back alive. Theoden, I'm gonna, in addition to the 3 hunt tokens, just for being allowed to do this, I'm going to extract the really particular cost from you of your ghoul ritual is no longer available to you because that's what you do to maintain yourself. So,
That's fair.
Riven, do you want to give us your fantastic narration of the resurrection of Theoden and what this is going to look like?
I think we'll assemble him from parts of his human torso, cured and sewn up with parts of the swords we had for creating his legs. And one arm will be his bear trap hand claw, and the other one will be the most vicious of the swords, unless Theoden, you want something closer to like a fork.
I kind of like the idea of a fork.
All right, we'll come up with a deadly looking trident like fork that you can use to pick up something.
Yeah, I would like to be able to grab something without crushing it with my bear trap, so that works more or
And
less fine.
I'm toying with the idea of either putting the undead head as his head, or or keeping his head. Which would you prefer, David? I'll keep in mind one of them didn't die.
As the meme says, why not find a spot for both of them on his body?
Oh, interesting. Oh, well, okay. Well, we can embed the undead head in the chest cavity, perhaps.
There we go. That I always got somebody to talk to.
Maybe that can be the energizing life force that is your animating.
It's like Iron Man.
Yeah. So
it's a
just
ghoul
siphoning.
head. Ghoul
I'm always constantly using my ritual to.
That's why that's why your ritual has to be focused on it. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'll literally strip it down to its undead brain merged with your dead heart, and see if I can hotwire those together.
If anybody can do it, it's definitely Master Riven.
All right, there's the 3 hunt tokens.
What about the lower half? He needs legs as well.
Lower half is swords. So the lower
Oh,
half
it's all just swords.
Legs
Okay.
made of swords.
Legs made of swords.
Differently articulated swords.
Yes, articulated swords, exactly.
Theoden, do you want to live like this?
No, I don't. But yet he will live like this.
Very well.
If only in service to maybe Alec
This
or
horrible
Alec and Riven.
Franken creature.
It's a thing of beauty.
Very well, very well. Theoden, you do not have to meet burdens, but you I don't think you have any treasure or anything either, though. So you probably have. I'm sure they took everything off your body before bringing you back. You have your hoard, though, so that's not nothing.
And I will spend my hunt tokens to make this thing come to life.
Please do. Let's go ahead and talk about Hearthfire then. Anybody with a household gets to lower their ruin by 1 and clear any or all conditions as they wish. And if you also use your household, please tell me what memento you keep to add to your household. Is it sword? Do let me know.
I'm definitely using my household. Will that? I assume that will not take care of the Ruby Tears of Mercy infection.
Per the rules, it will. But it's up to you whether you want to keep it because it's cool or not. So.
I think it's cool, so I'm going to keep
Yeah,
it unless we want to work something out with Riven when he's done with the body.
Also, the if I remember correctly from when we did that, the bargain on it was
Oh, you can't clear it.
It was a permanent thing that
it's
increases
unclearable.
burdens.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
There you go. Thank you for the reminder. We'll check in with Alec. Alec, are you going to use your household?
I mean, yeah, because when we come back, it just lets us do it without having to spend anything, right?
Yep, you get to lower your ruin by 1 and clear conditions. And what do you keep from the adventure as a memento?
I think I will keep Theoden's hand.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and put that in your mementos section of your household. For people watching the video who didn't watch the first adventure we did with these characters, Alex's household is a small boat on the water in the blossoming sea. Small
Mhm.
houseboat. Osto, I take it you're going to use your household. What are you going to keep?
I'm gonna keep the puzzle sword pieces.
Oh, okay, very good.
I'll skip those.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's, theoretically, I guess it's something if it ever came to it.
Yeah.
Theoretically, your characters could go back and get the rest of it. And your household is a
I
small
have,
self-made cabin just outside of Fort Duran.
yeah, living in the woods there, or just barely in the woods, maybe.
Indeed. And Riven, do you want to establish a household?
Yes, I have 3 gold left. I'd like to either rent a place or take over.
So you actually don't need to spend gold to get a household. You have to just increase your burdens by 1. So your burden score is always the same. Like your burden score never lowers, except you did lose your weapon. So I guess technically, if you keep the hand axe, your total burden load will be. Well, also you lost your bandolier of leather tomes as well.
And the wool. I went through a lot.
Well, the wool cloak you can unmark that when you clear your burdens. But with the hand axe and the stiff wool cloak, it puts your total burden load at 3 now. But if you take a household, it puts your burdens at 4.
Okay, I'll do that.
For your household, you have to tell us, and you get to unmark that, and this goes away. Let's see. Strike through that somehow. I'll just clear it, I guess. So you have to tell us a couple things about your household. 1, what kind of structure or environment is your household? A small cottage, a decrepit church you are lovingly restoring, a series of tunnels belonging to the local thieves guild, something else?
I think it's a tower, surgery, and lab.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, I like that. And everybody else gets to say a memento from your journeys together that can be found in your household.
I put some suggestions in.
Yeah, a lot of suggestions going on there. You can. Everyone else, what thoughts? Thoughts for the mementos?
I like the Pope head. That's my gift to you.
I think he ended up installing that into his torso. Actually.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
no, that's
mine.
right.
That's my heart
That's
now.
right.
Well, you can have the mitered cap, I suppose.
Yeah, take the hat.
That's true. The undead Pope's hat.
Ghoul Pope. Fantastic. Tadan, do you want to make an offering?
Yeah, I think you have some loose papers with designs of different swords on them. Like some weird fucking swords.
Eric, any contributions?
Yeah. So shortly after, maybe a couple weeks or so after this adventure, just all of a sudden, kind of appearing on your doorstep or entryway to your house is a scimitar with a blade that's made out of skin.
You got the skin scimitar. How did it find its way to you? We don't know, but it's a mystery. Alec, you want to make any contributions?
I think you have one of the duck people's feathers that you use as a quill to write with.
Very good. Love all that. Fantastic. Okay, so household sorted for Riven.
I'm very tempted to sew the scimitar onto Theoden.
Useless skin scimitar. You get to lower your ruin by 1 and clear any conditions that you wish.
Okay.
Let's keep going around the table here. So Theoden, I mean, I guess Theoden, are you like kind of starting your character anew here, or are you just gonna like kind of have a slightly revamped version of your other character?
I really was kind of thinking of starting it anew. Just the way he thinks isn't the same as
Yeah, because I think if his like if because his skills might be different, like he might not be able to do the same sorts of things. And
Yeah, I basically changed both the occupation and background.
yeah,
I chose the background as orphaned mannequin,
yeah, you
and
can
I chose
transfer.
the ox occupation.
Yeah, you can transfer your horde over, but I think otherwise, like that might be it though.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, because the way I kind of was thinking about it is, he's almost in service to
Mm-hmm.
Alec and Riven, or so he thinks. You know what I mean? He doesn't view himself as
Yeah,
Theoden necessarily anymore.
yeah,
If we were gonna keep playing, I would obviously flesh that out a little more. But
sure, yeah.
because it's over, I like that he kind of just lumbers and follows around
Right, yeah.
Alec and Riven.
Alec, anything else you want to do for Hearthfire?
Yeah, I'm going to pay for some healing and also use one of the healing moments.
Oh, okay, yeah, give us the healing moment.
Yeah, so this is a scene showing a private side that few others see. So as I'm sitting in my houseboat, uh, I sew all of my own clothes. I used to sew the sails and the whaling ship, but a lot of people don't really see the fact that I enjoy like just sewing, like clothing and hats and things like that. So most of my clothes are all sewn by me, but nobody knows that. So that's how I can relax and get centered once again, so I can stop talking to dead people.
Indeed. And you also have this
You have
sword.
live
Which
Theoden to
you have
talk
this
to
weird
now.
sword too, which if we see this character again, is going to have some pretty interesting implications for that character. So
Mhm.
fantastic. Osto, anything else you want to do for Hearthfire?
I don't think I have anything else. I'm out of gold. I'm all healed up. So
Very well. Riven, anything else you want to do for Hearthfire?
Done. I think I've got everything filled out.
Do you have any
Oh,
extra money?
I do, and maybe I am tempted to put a library in. Maybe that makes a lot of sense.
Well, yeah. If I mean, you could do that, or alternatively, you can. Well, if you do library, I think that just increases your burdens. You don't have to spend money on that. But you could. The rest of your remaining gold has to go in hoard. So
The rest of my remaining gold has to go in here. I see.
yeah. So the first time you stash gold in your hoard, you have to do a couple of things here, and then mark the 3 boxes. You can't end the adventure with any monetary treasure, basically. Where do you keep your hoard so no one can find it?
An excellent question. In the tower, but I will have done my best, and maybe that's why there's loose papers with those cryptic sword designs, to reconstruct the wonderful locking mechanism that I have this key for, on a little hidden panel.
Oh, nice. Good. Nice. Like that. That's good. And please narrate a flashback to the moment your drive of publishing your discoveries from ancient Kaldur became important to you.
Oh, well, it has to be upon the creation of my mannequin. This magnus opus moment for me, that finally all of my hard work, my research, my risk-taking adventures to test my theories out in the wild have come to fruition, and with the success of this magnificent mannequin, to walk in the shadow and pathway of the former master physicers and mages and sages of ancient Kaldur. I revel in that glory.
Fantastic. Alec, anything else for Hearthfire?
Yeah, I spend my last gold that I have to open up one of my equipment slots.
Very good. Fantastic. I guess that's it then. Are we sorted on Hearthfire then?
Yeah.
Hey, really successful dungeon for the group. Riven got 3 chords. So that's not nothing.
Yeah.
Everybody else, it was a good time was had by all, even if the treasure hunters are arguably in worse shape than they started. Let's go to stars and wishes. I'll start today. This could be for the whole series too, not just today. This was a lot of fun. But despite my best efforts to make this module like darker in tone, I just think it was impossible. It was just so impossible to keep it like that way. Like when you have like fucking octopus swords and shit, like it's not. There's just no. There's you eventually just have to like take it on its own terms and go with it. Yeah, definitely a little bit goofier and sillier than something I would normally run. That said, I liked it. I thought it was a fun module. We didn't really get the story of the dungeon. So it's all kind of a mystery still, and we'll just leave it a mystery. But it was fun. There were some fun moments. The combats were really fun. The Mer Queen combat was really exciting and dangerous, obviously. The fighting the knight in the forge was really scary and ended really badly, obviously. There was a lot of cool moments, and everybody did a good job of kind of using the system to sort of like get things done, and that was really fun to see. That sort of like tactical play has been really enjoyable to watch. I really like the characters. I liked Riven a lot. Riven was really, really fun to see. I really like that Revel, even though Revel's no longer with us, I liked Revel had such a sort of like kind of adventurous scoundrel vibe that I think was really fun. It felt like a very, very like old school thief type character, and it was fun to see. The little partnership between Alec and Theoden was really interesting to see, and it was like they were thrust into this really bad situation and just trying to stay alive and trying to like get out of this situation as best they could. They were dealt a really bad hand, and but I like this sort of bond of the two of them. I thought it was really, really enjoyable to see. And yeah, and also I think we had like kind of a similar bond with Riven and Osto too, so that was it was a really interesting dynamic in the party. I never got the impression that apart from Alec and Theoden, that these characters like liked or cared about each other much. Like they were like extremely selfish, and I think there was still some like lingering tensions from the first adventure and that were like spilling into this adventure. We didn't get to see much of like Osto's changes in fiction, which would have been like probably my wish. Like I would have liked to have incorporated more of that like fungus stuff that happened last time into the role play. But that's fine. It was okay. It was still really enjoyable despite that. And that was on me more than anything, because I should have been leaning into it more. But it was a good time. It was chaotic and weird and dangerous, and it was fun. So it was a dungeon crawl.
I got stars. Billy, man, like just every time we were in the chat constantly like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. We're dead. Like we could spend tokens. Let's just roll again. Let's just roll one more time.
The die roller was so fucked today. It was like, oh, we better not roll any 4s. Oh, here's 3 of them. Boom. Like it was bad.
I was like that Revel is just gonna do his own thing. Like I'm gonna jump on this thing because I'm poor and I need money. Like let me just jump on the tower, and then let me just go in this place, and then, oh look, it's a knight. That's bad. And then trying to stab with the flesh scimitar. Like you're right. Like this module is kind of goofy.
Like it's a silly module. It's very silly, and yeah.
So
Every
So
time
I
you said
think-
flesh scimitar, I just kept picturing everywhere all at once.
Yeah,
Fingers.
hot dog
Yeah,
fingers.
yeah, the hot dog fingers. I also really, I could listen to Osto and Riven. Like I could read a webcomic. That's what I think when I said in the chat. Like this is a webcomic I've read before, but I could read that one again. So yeah, just it's all good. And Jason, man, way to even though it's a goofy module, there's something about having like humor at moments so that the horror hits harder, and I think that was very effective in this game.
I definitely like made the mer people scarier than they are in the module. In the module, they're like not really scary at all. They're kind of well, and also in the module. So I'll tell you, in the module, the duck eaters are actually they're like a species that they call drucks in the module, and they're basically just like duck men. And I changed that because like I didn't like the idea of, I don't know, duck men just didn't fit my idea of something I want in the game. And so I did this other thing with these sort of like mutant duck hybrid things. There was actually some interesting stuff to learn about them if you had gone into a couple of other places in the dungeon that you didn't go into. That was one wish I had though. And so anyway, the drucks were like, you basically walk into the dungeon in the middle of like a factional war between the drucks and the mer people, and that was an interesting aspect to the dungeon, but it was not really thematically, it was not really something I was interested in exploring, and so I decided to make the mer people more of just like this sort of alien horror, although it ended up being like kind of a Final Fantasy like monster at the end. But anyway, I don't know, I did my best. The module's very tonally, kind of all over the place in some ways, but while being quite fun still. But yeah.
So I'm gonna do a star there because I'm not sure how much you changed, like how much the tone, how much you changed the tone and what that did for it. But if I played this in any other system, I don't think I would have liked it at all. But because of the fact that that it was a little bit more narrative and we were able to inject some things, and
Right. Yeah.
we could make things happen with devil's bargains that were really interesting. I think that made the module, because like you said, I mean, I don't think for me it's not my style of dungeon that I would normally be interested in. So
Yeah, like it was written for OSC, and I suppose there's like, I mean, I suppose if you're just doing like a regular straight traditional fantasy dungeon crawl game, it's gonna, I mean, I honestly think you'd probably have like definitely not a similar experience, because you're right, the trophy gold rolls changed the narrative quite a bit, but I didn't change much in terms of like where everything is in the structure. I changed the two things I changed were like the mer people and the duck people. Like I just kind of fundamentally changed what their deal was, but everything else was basically as written. And I agree that trophy gold gives you the opportunity to sort of like make the story that you want to make, and there were a few little key parts of this dungeon that I think would have made it feel a little bit more like narratively coherent had you discovered them and done them. So it's interesting. I'm gonna have a really interesting time reviewing this one on Fear of a Black Dragon. I'm very curious to hear what Tom thinks about it, because Tom kind of famously is not into whimsy or silliness in dungeons, and I think he's gonna like, I'd be curious to get his thoughts on this one. The thing is, I can't even tell if the author of the dungeon intended for it to be kind of silly, or if that's just like what they think is cool. And it is cool in a lot of ways, but it's just thematically all over the place, right? Swords, ducks, mer people, like it's doing so many things, and yeah, it's interesting. I guess I don't really know what I'm saying here, except to say that it's going to be really interesting to talk about on my show. So we'll see how it goes. But sorry, I kind of cut off Stars and Wishes.
Yeah, I had a great time both times. I think the way that Jason run it, the things that you did add with the making it like ducks and mermaids more terrible, definitely did kind of make it feel more like, oh, this is actually a scary place instead of just this
Yeah.
is Duckburg or whatever. But yeah, it was still really fun. It definitely did, like, I kind of like that feeling of there's a lot more that we didn't see, and that kind of like leaves that mystery there.
There are some
And
key moments you missed. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true. Yeah.
and like the like even just like even if it was just a 9-piece sword, like the tension is there. Like, do we keep going to get more stuff, or do we just like GTFO? And that's partly trophy is doing. But yeah, it was a great time. Lots of good moments. Lots of great choices to make. Everyone's character, I've already said, it's already great. I love the Mer Queen fight so much. That was amazing all around. Riven, yeah, great character. Rebel being Rebel, doing Rebel stuff, it's all good. Yeah, I think the only wish I would have would be for myself. I felt like I was playing like cautious dungeon, and I think it would have been more entertaining to have just like gone a little bit harder, but it worked out. I made it through, so
You did survive. That's true.
yeah, I
Yeah.
did survive.
Yeah, I played this one way looser. Like I was like, oh, let's just go be curious and see what happens.
Yeah,
That was a terrible idea.
And look
Yeah.
where that got us. Yeah. Yeah, I had such a fun time. Yeah, I'm never too like attached to any characters I play, so it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see people kind of go hard against, choices that are made, stuff like that. Everybody did such a good job. I really liked Riven a whole lot. I know I said that last time. It was my star as well. But everybody did such a good job. They really felt like Revel felt the same Revel from the first go around we had. And Osto was like different but for a reason kind of bit. And I really liked that Alec kind of grew on Theoden and vice versa. I thought that was a fun thing to explore, especially because it was really at odds at the beginning of the first adventure we did. So, it was a fun little bit. The only wish that I would have is to check out this mannequin version of Theoden sometime.
Yeah, I agree with everything everyone's already said. I've had so much fun. I said that the last time too, and especially sort of being the new person on the team, felt really great to sort of seamlessly slip in with everyone. It was very comfortable RPing with everyone, and I think because you had already formed a pretty cohesive team, my oddball physiker coming along for the trip sort of became an interesting foil to have kind of doddering around in the background. So that was kind of fun to play. But it was great, the sort of the pairing off dynamic with Osto and the kind of back and forth repartee as we're risking our life and limb. The spotlight management, Jason, was amazing. You handled all of us extremely well. I never felt out of the action at all. I was equally riveted to everybody's story. And the dungeon itself, it's intriguing as you had begun to describe it. My imagination sort of had begun to run wild because I was trying to assemble all these different pieces together. And when we first encountered that large, enormous room with the statue that Rebel climbs up and the sort of God element that went along with it, I began sort of thinking, is this some ancient, nature god that's trying to pull mankind down and end war amongst men and devolve us into these transmutated species?
And what interesting things would that reveal? So that was the sort of interesting titillation. I
It
thought, oh,
turns out he just likes swords and wants to see people kill each other with swords.
and to that end, I kept imagining that puzzle sword would sort of unlock, like I was thinking like a Damascus steel blade, and we'd see the cosmos in the ripples, right? And it would unlock some secret of the universe. I was like really hungry to get it. So even though it didn't seem connected, it connected it for crazy old Riven. Of course, he was haunted by some ghost by the end of it, so who knew? But I had such a great time, and wishes I would. I guess I just wish to play with you folks again. This was really fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed myself.
Fantastic. Is that everyone? Any other stars and wishes?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll add. So I was really, because I generated it randomly, so I was really interested in the world building around the drive and the background that I had, the unmasked Fae, and then the wanting to be in the court of the swirling, whatever it was, mist, something like
Swirling
that.
court. Yep.
Yeah, swirling court. So I'm gonna a little bit disappointed that I don't get to keep flushing that out, but
Such is the way. Such is the way.
Yep.
I wish we could have left this dungeon rested and gone back into it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. This dungeon's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, and there's like some pretty big set pieces that we didn't get to do either, and all of them connected to like the missing pieces that you never got your hands on. But like there was that guy behind the wall, there was the sand thing, which you all kind of misinterpreted what was going on there, but there was something kind of else going on there. There was the
terrifying moment, by the way. That was great.
Yeah.
There was a really, really horrifying thing with the duck eaters that we didn't get to see. I had, so my wish is that we could have gotten to do those things, but it's okay. Sometimes it's good to leave some stuff on the table. So, fantastic. Well, I think if that's it, if there's nothing else, we will wave goodbye to anybody watching the video.